in a boat. Each of them has two paddles with them, and they are in the middle of an ocean. Oftentimes, this is where we find ourselves as individual young people who have just graduated from the university, or who have just got into a new job, into a new career. Oftentimes, you get the feeling that you've just been thrown into an ocean, and it will be your responsibility to see how you can paddle yourself or your way into a safe place or a safe haven, as the case may be. And this is where personal vision comes in. These four individuals set out with an end in mind, getting across this ocean. And they have at the back of their minds that in the course of this journey, right, turbulence may arise. There may be setback, and hence there is need for them to remain focused on that end point. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where your personal vision about your life, about your career is called to bear. Just like this individual, their primary goal is getting across to the other side. I don't know what goals you have set for yourself, what vision you have currently for your career and for your life, right? Again, take a moment, focus on this image. You see a lot of images in my presentation, and I'll try as much as possible to speak to them, right? It's a driver on a highway coming from a particular destination, going to another destination. Before setting out, there is an end in mind. The end for this individual will be determined by a few things. What exactly is this person going to do, where he's heading to? What are his principal objectives from going from point A to point B? The issues or the things or the events or the activity he's going for, what is the motivation? What is fueling it? Could he have chosen to stay back and not embark on this journey? Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, in developing personal vision, it's important that you identify what we call your core values. They will be the principal foundation that will guide you in taking decisions, and of course, in every action that you take. How do you act? How do you behave? When you are met with setback, what do you accept? What do you want to let go of? What do you want to embrace? These are all anchored in your core values. Now, if you've ever been to, for those of us who are in organization today, it's one of the critical strategic elements that forms the culture of an organization. That is, how does this organization want to be seen? How does this organization want to be represented? In communication to the public, in their approach to business activities, in where they do everything. The core values of the organization are critical to what they do. Now, as individual, it is also very, very important in setting out your life that you identify critical core values that will influence how you do, how you live, how you behave. I was reading on LinkedIn about a beautiful piece someone has written saying letter to Gen Z, right? And it was so beautifully worded. And there were some elements to say, yes, we are woke, but that you are woke, you want to challenge things, that don't mean that you should not respect people. It does not mean that you should not learn to collaborate with people. There are a few things I picked from there, right? So being respectful, being able to work with people, being honest, building integrity into your life, having a mindset of excellence is critical in how you channel and form your vision as an individual. In building your personal vision, ladies and gentlemen, it's important for you to also understand and explore what exactly are your interests. I'll give you an example clearly. About 3 years ago, there was an individual who had reached out to me wanting to explore a particular line of career. And I had just gone through a particular book, right? And a particular question from that book stuck in my brain. And when the individual reached out, I just asked the question, what do you do on a daily basis that gets you excited? And I asked that question because the line of career this individual wants to go into compared to beats at variance, it's like someone heading out in the opposite direction. I took that question to help him to reset himself back on, oh,
like this side is not full.
I actually don't like this particular element. And I said, this element you do not like.
Anyway,
the most prominent in the job or in the career you want to get into.
But if I'm not sure about this part.
Sorry.
I want this part to
we have some disruptions.
Please, can you mute others?
Please, if you while our facilitator is speaking, please ensure that your mics are muted. Sometimes you might forget or enable it without knowing. It causes some disruptions. Please, let's ensure that we keep our mics muted. Thank you, Maris. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. So I was saying it's important for you to determine what you are passionate about. What exactly interests you? If you are not the type that likes to talk to people, if you are not the type that likes to sell, please don't go into sales. If you are not the type that likes to work a bit at the background, if you're not the type that likes to wanting to stay on your own, there are certain career types that you should not get involved in. Understanding your life's choices and the things that matters to you will help you to form your vision. For instance, some of us, our life's choices is want to be fantastic parents. We want to one day aspire to get married. Some of us who want to, our aspirations, our life choice, we want to be CEO of an organization. We want to set up our own businesses. We just want to live life. We want to, again, travel out and do all manners of things that interest us. In planning or setting a personal vision, you need to basically account for some of these interests that you have, the things that gets you excited. Also, it's important for you to have long-term perspective to the direction you want to go, and of course, creates a roadmap that helps you to identify as you begin to make some of these achievements in your life. Moving on, I'd like you to focus a bit on this bridge. And this bridge likely speaks to why do you really need a vision, right? Again, it's a body of water. There is need for you to move from one place to the other. For this city, it's a fantastic alternative route for people to cross from one end of the city to another end of the city. where exactly are you as an individual? In your career, of course, also in your personal life. What do you need as a leverage to get to the other side? Having a vision will give you direction and it will give you focus. Without clear direction, without clear focus, the tendency for you to continue to move in circle is real. And having direction, for those of us that believe so much in the Holy Book, right? There's a part of the scripture that says, if your eye be single, the whole of your body will be full of light, right? And that speaks to the power of focus. It's important for you to establish clear direction that you want to head. Now, if you look at this bridge, there are guardrails. If you step onto this bridge and you lose sight of the guardrail, you find yourself in the body of water. If you get to the top, if you look at the arrow in the middle, and you are not too clear where you want to head, you likely also find yourself in the body of water. At times, you are also moving towards your destination. If you lose sight of where you are going to, either through a call from behind, you may also derail. Ladies and gentlemen, setting clear direction as to where you want to go, maintaining an absolute focus in terms of where you are headed, is also very, very important. Being someone who has seen quite a lot of profiles and CVs, right? In the course of last week, someone has shared a particular profile with me, and the person was said to have had about 7 years experience and wants a career in one of the areas the person has been before. Specifically, the individual has had about 2 years audit training experience, starting out his career. In the middle, he'd had about 3 years working as a customer service person. From audit training, 2 years, transitioning into career, into customer service. And then in the last 2 years, the person had then detoured into a treasury role. And I had received the CV for a possible placement as an audit person. And I look at the CV and I spoke with the individual who has shared the profile with me and I say, hey, this person does not have the relevant experience for this role because he's been here, he's been here, he's been there. In discussing the profile, the impression was that this person has 7 years experience. And looking through the profile, I could only see someone who has 2 years relevant experience over 5 years or 6 years ago. The experience of 6 years ago is no longer relevant for the role this individual is seeking currently. The issue is the individual basically at certain points lost focus. He lets go his clear direction as to where he wants to head. Now, for everyone on this call today, and for the young people in particular, it's important for you to establish that clear focus and direction. Of course, having a vision will help you to be motivated to want to achieve. Improved and enhanced motivation comes when you have a clear vision of where you want to go. Of course, you also have a fantastic framework for taking decision because there's a vision you already have set. So taking decision, of course, you have a framework to evaluate each steps, each action you choose or you decided to make against the vision that you have set. Of course, developing a personal vision requires that you need to exercise a lot of self-reflection. In my professional career, right, I've come across people that would rather have taken steps before they think through things. Therefore, critical thinking, self-reflection, it's important as you move on the journey to setting a personal vision. Self-reflection basically is looking into yourself. Maris, what can I do? What am I made for? What do I love? What do I like? What can make me cry? What can bring bitterness to me? What can make me happy? What can give me joy? What skills do I have? What knowledge do I need to acquire? These questions are very, very important, and you need to ask yourself. As you ask yourself, I encourage you, take a paper, take a pen, and of course, if your choice is you want to use your handheld devices, there are fantastic notes that you can use to jot down your self-reflections. The best place to start self-reflection is questioning. And the art of questioning is what we don't do so much in this part of the world. For few people or those who have cultivated the habit of asking questions, you understand that you get clarity pretty much. The next, as you develop personal vision, is to set long-term goals. Hey, I know that we all want to make it big quickly. We all want to live in very big, beautiful houses, ride very big cars. We want to be called Oga Madam. We want to be called Augusta. We want to become head of this, director of this, and all of that. Setting long-term goals helps you to get to this path sustainably. There's a difference between someone having width and someone having depth. Getting or setting short-term goals has its own advantage. However, setting long-term goals has, over the years, been proven to have better, long-standing advantage. Identify and set long-term goals that align with your passion and, of course, the vision you set. And finally, what are your aspirations? You need to have vision statements. Oftentimes, when I look at profiles, CVs, and all of that, people write what they call career objectives or career goals. And a lot of them are just too abstract. If you look at the individual's career trajectory, right, a lot of what has been crafted as career goal or mission or statement are too abstract, and there is no connection between the individual and what the person has crafted. When I review profiles, I'm looking at what exactly have you done, how, what have you achieved, what learning have you gone through, what exactly is your focus on the CVs you have presented, and then looking at your career mission, goals, or statement, or objective, there's a lot of disconnect. So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage us as individuals to have aspirations that are deeply connected to us or to you. Have aspirations that are deeply connected to you. Now, in having that, you also need to define what success means to you, so that as you achieve a milestone, you can celebrate yourself, you can give yourself a fantastic pat on the back, and then fire up for the next milestone. Mission statements basically are guide on your journey. I'm trying to rush this as much as possible because of my time. Now, having a growth mindset. Again, having a growth mindset is anchored on quite a lot of things. But it's important for you to choose a bouquet of things work for you. I need to establish that what works for Maris may not work for Adesoji. And that is where knowing who you are, a part of self-awareness, becomes very important. It's also why having that personal vision framework is very, very important. Moving into this, in developing a growth mindset, you need to have this check. One, you need to be very open to taking on challenges. You cannot rest on what you have achieved. Yes, very well, you have made first class from university, you have made 2-1, you have made 2-2, whatever it is you have made, or you just got your new job, you've got just earned a promotion, you've just achieved a milestone. To grow or having a growth mindset basically means that you must be open to say, this is already in the bag. What is the next challenge to go after to enable me to reach my goal? You must be ready to push beyond boundaries, push beyond the limitations that is set against you, either personally, society, environment, and what have you. The next is you must be able to persevere in the face of setback. And this is where your resilience basically comes in. How resilient are you? How quickly are you able to recover and bounce back from setback? Guys, I won't sit here and tell you that in the course of my career, I've not had setbacks. I have had quite a lot. But the beauty of life is don't stay down. Pick yourself up. You send in that application, it came back as a no. Go ahead, type another beautiful one and send it. You've attended that interview, it came back as a no. Go ahead, get ready, prepare, attend the next interview, prepare yourself. Having a growth mindset also means that you are passionate about learning. And today, information is highly democratized. You're walking on the streets, you're in a store, anywhere you can access information. The volume of it is unbelievable, right? On the internet, in bookstores, in the classroom, speaking to a mentor, engaging individual in coaching, you have access to fantastic opportunity for learning. And I recall when Abigail was opening up this conversation, she said, in her days, right, this opportunity was not available, right? So I congratulate those of you on the call today. It's a demonstration of your passion for learning. Seek knowledge, pursue it with every breath that you have. Okay, when you acquire it, look for opportunity to demonstrate it, turn it into skill and enhance ability. This way, you are expanding that opportunity for you to grow. Again, cultivating a growth mindset. You cannot overemphasize the need for self-reflection. And this time I'm asking you to be deliberate in practicing self-reflection. And the next is seek feedback courageously. For people who've been pretty familiar with me and where I work, my feedback is usually 360. And I enjoy asking my protege to give me feedback. It's the most cherished part of my performance system. Asking those I lead, asking those I supervise, asking those I work with to give me feedback. It's beautiful. And a few of them have come to understand the fact that I challenge them aggressively with respect to, hey, don't tell me what I have done beautiful well. Tell me what do I need to change? How do you want me to provide leadership that helps make you able to comfortably achieve your part of the project, your part of the common goal? Seek it courageously. And in seeking feedback, bear at the back of your mind. The positive one will typically come first, but ask for that bitter one. That is the one you need to enhance. That is the one you need to develop, right? That one you don't want to hear. That very negative one is the cocoa of the feedback. Ask for it. Cherish it when you are giving feedback, okay? And ask for opportunity to demonstrate the change that comes with it. And the next is embrace challenges. I've said that earlier. And finally, seek supportive relationships. Seek supportive relationships. They'll help you. And you have this relationship all around you, from peers, from senior people, mentors, coaching. Some relationships are through the books you have opportunity to read. Okay. What exactly is career planning? And in doing this, I know that a lot of us have been in jobs that are pretty exciting, whether in HR, in technology, in being an entrepreneur, in finance, just name it. I will deploy several skills. However, in moving forward, right, there have been tremendous changes all over the world. And the changes are still happening. So what you have on the screen is basically, starting from the quote by Rita, says, achieving sustainable competitive advantage, right, is nearly impossible these days. Because every single day you have new invention. Innovation is coming out just like the speed of light. What works yesterday may not necessarily work today. And has proven that yesterday is gone. Today is here. And tomorrow we can only anticipate. So the World Economic Forum came up with the 15 top priority schemes, right, for 2025, right? And in no particular order, basically, you have analytical thinking and innovation. So if you are planning your career, ladies and gentlemen, take time to look at this skill set. active learning and learning strategies, complex problem solving. You know, you've been solving problems, right? But we are looking for people who have the capacity and capability to solve complex problems. Critical thinking and analysis. In planning your career, 2025 and beyond, please focus on these skills. Leadership and social influence. You know, today we talk about the power of the social media, right? You hear influencers everywhere you go. How well are we cultivating our capability to lead and demonstrate social influence within your circle? The use of technology, monitoring and control, technology design and programming, resilience. I spoke about resilience earlier, your ability to bounce back from any form of setback you may have experienced, right? How do you manage and adapt and be flexible in the face of stress? Reasoning, ideation, of course, the big brother, emotional intelligence, troubleshooting, and of course, user experience, service orientation, systems analysis and evaluation, and finally, if you must win, you must be able to develop ability to persuade people and to negotiate a favorable outcome in either way. In planning your career, ladies and gentlemen, understand that the world of work is not a master-slave relationship. I repeat, in planning your career, understand clearly that employment should never be a master-slave relationship. The same way the organization is trying to evaluate your suitability for their job or for their opportunity, you should also be in that position to evaluate the organization for the value they have that aligns with your vision, that aligns with your career goal, and of course, objective. As we begin to drive this home briefly, in career planning or in planning your career, do you want to be or do you want to earn? Yes or no? Do you want to be or do you want to earn? And I give you this, my personal story, right? I hope I still have a few moments to share. During my NYSC, I served the University of Ilorin, and we were 32 in my set, batch A core members. We met on ground 32 core members also who were batch B. So they were passing out when we were getting into the University of Ilorin to serve. I was privileged to have been elected to lead the batch, new batch coming in. And I remember that I took a decision, having spoken to my colleague then, to say, oh, the university just had a new vice chancellor. Can we go and say hello to the new vice chancellor? And the guys that were leaving the batch, we come and say, I beg, we're not going to put food on our table, you know, the way young people. And I said, what does it cost us? Let's ask for an audience. And so we wrote to the registrar that would like to pay a courtesy call to the vice chancellor. And she was shocked. I remember Mrs. Oyeyemi. She said, in the history of the university, core members come and they go. No one has asked to say, they'd like to see or hold a meeting with the vice chancellor. And so a date was fixed. We all went. The DVC, the registrar, the vice chancellor was available. And we met. had a very fantastic deliberation. And right there, the Vice Chancellor said that by the power of the university, they were actually giving every one of us, 64 of us, an automatic employment as assistant lecturer, not actually graduate assistant. Of course, for you to then serve, minimum is you must make it 2-1 minimum, right? So the initial threshold was crossed. And he said, not as graduate assistant, but assistant lecturer, right? It was from the decision to pay a courtesy visit, right? But the cross of the story is this, and it's me. I got back home, of course, excited, went back to our various departments, faculty, and all of that. And I got back home to the university quarters, and I sat back in my room. I had the pasting of somebody, Dr. Sulaiman, who had then led Otto Anderson for quite a while. So I was having a cutting of all his newspaper speeches and all of that in my room at the university quarters. And I got back and I started a particular one. And I said, no, Maris, you will not I will not accept this offer. I had always wanted to be a consultant. I had always wanted to work in consulting. But here I am, I just had an offer in the university. Of course, fresh, I will earn. And there's a caveat to that particular offer. The university will sponsor those who accept up to their PhD level. However, you must come back. Whatever number of years you stay outside, you come back to the university and you must give back that number of years. Right? So the pay was going to be good. I can pursue my master's degree. I can do my PhD and everything. But then I look at this person that have always wanted to be like a consultant. And I said, no, I'm not going to accept the offer. Of course, I didn't accept the offer. So the question I have answered basically was that I choose that I want to be this person. I want to be a consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, I choose to be. I let the opportunity to end. Again, it comes from the place of my personal career aspirations and vision, right? The day I got a job, I had 2 offers the same day. One was consulting, one was industry. Of course, I left University of Ilorin and I didn't get a job for another 1.5 years, right? And when I had the job, 2 offers the same day. One was paying extremely very high. And the other one was just like a peanut, actually, 20,000 naira. Right? But because I've always loved consulting, I accepted the 20,000 naira offer. Good. Right? It was going to help me to do consulting. Right? And why it was HR, it was consulting. And I recall my first HR book was Torrington and Hall. I bought it at Lara Bookshop. That was the only thing I brought back from my NYC. So I'm telling you so that you guys understand that no matter where you are, there's always a place to start from. And it's taking that decision to either be or to end. You will always be faced with it. But your personal vision, your career focus will guide you to what you want to be. Dr. Sulaiman was once an individual that led Otto Anderson that became KPMG, right? That image I used to see then. I want to be a consultant. Today, 5 years ago, I got into KPMG, and it's been an awesome privilege. Again, from this is what I want or who I want to be. So you will always be faced with the question, do I want to be or I want to earn? So if you look at the slide, right, you have the money that is being minted, the coin. And of course, you have this set of roles: account coordinator, social media coordinator, projects coordinator, market coordinator, and of course, marketing director. Again, do you want to be or you want to earn? Now, the difference is that, and I'm not telling you that anyone is bad, but understand and set your career vision, personal vision, career goal, and plan your career properly. The difference basically in what I do today or what I've done over the years, I have had the privilege to be chasing people who choose to be. I'll tell you, as a headhunter, an executive selection person, I typically look for people who have become, who can solve problems that my clients have. And so I carry money. I carry to go and chase them everywhere, meaning that I'm chasing them to come and accept, trying to sell job to them. But guess what? There are people who today, yes, you typically chase for the job. But if you plan properly, within a very short time, you can turn your career into an individual that people like me will be chasing you with offers. Let me share this shocking example. I'm not sure whether it's here, I've said it before. There was a time I was trying to hire somebody. For me to be able to get that person into my shortlist, people come to interview. I went to interview the person in his office. Right? I did not wait for the person to come. Right? So I'm saying, have sufficient vision for your career. Plan your career and make the choice. You want to earn or you want to be. SMART goals framework. How exactly do you smart? In planning your career, you need to set goals. And your goals has to be extremely smart. Smart, of course, it has to be specific, measurable, attainable. It must be, of course, realistic, and there must be time. It must be time-bound. And of course, you need to also develop what we call career development roadmap. How do you want to move from this point to this point? At every point in your career, it's not every offer you accept. Any role that will not take you to or help you to enhance or drive you to achieving your career focus, your mission statement, you should not go for it. Again, decide, do you want to earn or you want to be? And I acknowledge that, yes, starting out sometimes, we are all in survival mode. So we first want to earn, right? So it might not be a bad place to start, but don't stay long in your pursuit of earning, okay? Of course, you need to be able to track your progress, take ownership, and of course, be accountable on the career path you have chosen. Understand and conduct proper self-assessment, okay? Using the SWOT analysis, what are your strengths, the opportunities that are available, what exactly are your weaknesses, and what threats do you see within the industry? Earlier, I projected the 25 skills that would drive 2025 and beyond, right? If you don't have some of those skills, it might be a weakness. What are the likely threats coming into your industry, into the work you do today? Of course, artificial intelligence, generative AI, and everybody is in panic mode right now, right? In the last 6 months thereabout, I've been having to restudy about how do I apply AI into recruitment, into talent acquisition, right? Every single day, I look at CVs and I'm confused because the CVs are clearly well written by AI, right? And I'm saying, hey, wait a minute. I need to go back to my traditional eye, right, to see if this AI written CV or not. Okay? So your current job will face strength, and technology and innovation will be the biggest. So you need to be able to evaluate the choices you have made, the career path you are on currently, or the one you've been choosing to be on. Medicine, AI is doing surgery today, right? Is this still really as attractive as it should be? Our parents, or do we still have parents who want to be called mama doctor, iya lawyer, right? So before you choose to pursue a career in law, in medicine, I'm talking about those traditional stuff, right? Maybe computing is it for you. Maybe it's just having digital skills. It is for you. You want to consider the flexibility that comes with some of the careers that are out today. Again, I'm saying in your career planning, set goals, okay? And of course, understand your strengths, your weaknesses. Leverage your strength, address your weaknesses. Be conversant of the threats coming up and skill up yourself to be able to, again, be a step ahead of the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for you to have what we call skill improvement plan. Again, going back to the 15 skill set that the World Economic Forum has said will be critical. How do you improve your skill? Number one, set goals around your skill. Okay? Look for training opportunities. LinkedIn, Coursera, and some of those courses everywhere. People are developing fantastic courses that I would say is on the internet. Your YouTube is fantastic learning space. Your TikTok, again, there are fantastic opportunity for you to learn there, right? And of course, you need to be disciplined to ward off distractions that comes with those platforms, right? Of course, seek mentorship, very, very important. A man said that if I have seen father, it's because I stood on the shoulders of giants, right? Mentorship provides you tremendous opportunity to avoid pitfall, right? That others have scaled or others have crashed into, and they have stood up, they've moved ahead, right? Finally, of course, continuous learning. You cannot but live or explore opportunity for continuous learning. Of course, creating a long-term career strategy. Number one, you need to stay informed. It's very critical. You need to be able to identify all aspects or areas of growth that you need. What are the trends in the industry you are going into, in the organization you are going into, in the career you are going into? What are the trends? Okay. What career paths is now available or will likely be available in the next few years? You shouldn't just be a consumer. Try also to be a producer. Produce something unique, something new, start a new industry. I was reading through the history of I think Alibaba, how he created the comedy industry that is spinning multi-billion naira today, right? Of course, in all that you do, create opportunity to network, get mentor, share your interests with people. And of course, understand that you cannot have enough of learning. As the job market continues to evolve, industry continues to change, whether it's oil and gas, the way they drilled 50 years ago is not the same way drilling is done today. The kind of resources that is needed on rig platforms 20 years ago is not the same that is needed today. Technology is taking over. So as an individual, how do you want to stay relevant? Of course, you need to also be able to develop your career in such a way that is adaptive. There's something called skill stacking, right? Understand how you are in this career, how do you leverage your base to begin to break out to other areas? It's like a tree that has a branch. Build a solid base, first of all, and then begin to branch out. So you must focus on career that has adaptability framework around it. Of course, skill development. And finally, you need to align your career goals to your personal values. Do you like to work remotely? Do you want to be, what career goals or life goals or values are important to you? What is job satisfaction to you? What makes you happy? In designing your career goals, you must align it with who exactly you are. Who do you want to be? You know, your epitaph, right? What do you want to be crafted on it? Do you want to be a fantastic father, husband, right? You need to be conscious of the decisions that you make with respect to your career. At what age do you plan to retire? Traveling around the world, enjoying holidays. You need to plan it along with your career. At what point do you want to set up your own organization, your own company? Or do you want to be into career, or it's all 9 to 5 for me? You need to align your career goals with some of these personal values. It's often said work-life balance, work-life balance. Again, if you can achieve it, fantastic. What I have often advocate is, how do you create a harmony? It's like an orchestra. Different people are playing, different skill sets at play, different instruments at play. Of course, the beauty of the orchestra is that a unique harmony is achieved. And you can look at that principle and adapt it to your career and your kind of life you want to live. Know when to say yes and be happy to say no. Yes. Be happy to say no. People identify you with your values. They respect the boundaries you have created. How do you track your progress? Do regular check-in with yourself. Seek feedback regularly. As well as the 360-degree feedback approach, from those you report to, from your peer, and of course from those that report to you or whose work fit into you, right? Be open to adjust. And of course, I can't stop or emphasize self-reflection. It's a journey, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, in conclusion, create a personal vision, or creating a personal vision helps in defining your career goals, your aspirations, and they guide every decision and action that you make or you take. The growth mindset, of course, is critical for you to be able to face challenges, to embrace challenges, to learn from the feedback, and of course, persist and become resilient when the negatives happen. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, it's important that effective career navigation will involve the fact that you are strategic, you set clear goals, okay? Finally, you are able to monitor your progress. I thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And we like to take questions, comments, feedback at this time.
Thank you so much, Maris. That's how you lay a foundation. I don't think there was anything that was left out from this. And well, I can speak for most of us on the call. It was beautifully laced with instances, from your past experiences that have made it all the more relatable. Okay, so dear audience participants, there you have it. Personal vision and a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, a growth mindset that is open, to expanding. And all the nuggets along the way, self-reflection, knowing your personal vision, what interests you, being resilient. This last interesting one, saying no, not diplomatically, but be happy to say no, okay, to what isn't you. So do you have any questions? We have a loaded session. Okay, let's see. I see something in the chat section. So let's see. Oh, okay. No question. Okay. I'm sure they're still warming up. We'll probably get it. But there's just one question I'd like to ask Maris quickly, if you could. Especially for a crop of people here who are just starting out in their career. I know sometimes you sit on that or you sit as a candidate and you have your interviewer, and somewhere along the line a question could come to you as is this a means to an end, or is it the end in itself, right? My question essentially is about, when do you compromise? I'm still building up on this question. There are those instances, but from the banking industry where I work, a number of people, based on their self-interest or what they know about themselves at that point in time, they don't like talking to people. I see myself as an introvert. But they find themselves in this role. Then some of them actually do thrive because they discover things about themselves that they didn't necessarily know before now. So the question really is this: when should you compromise in terms of your personal aspirations and ideas that you have set for yourself, and what comes to you as opportunities? How do you handle it?
Thanks a lot. Right. So this is what I have, and this is a bit at conflict or with who I am, right? So the way I would typically address this is, from the beginning, what have you choose to be? That's one. Now, I understand that where you get to and your personal happiness, waking up in the morning to wanting to go to that job is no longer exciting for you, right? When you get to that point where whether the service, the people you serve, the customers, you're not happy doing it. From natural human psychology, people are excited when they're able to solve problems for others. But if you are in a job where you daily solve problems for people, and yet you are not happy, please, it's a very good place for you to step back. If the problem you solve is sufficient enough to keep you going to that position, then you are not at the point where you need to compromise yet. Okay? However, where you struggle a lot between your personal happiness and the job, then please take a walk. Because the moment you get to that threshold, your capacity to think solution, it's again shut down. The way the brain functions is that there are levels of, I know the neuroscience would call it dopamine now, that excitement that fuels all your system. Your brain takes signal from how excited you are. When you are bitter, you cannot think critically. So you may likely begin to make errors, mistakes, because you are not happy at the job. You are struggling, really. When you get to that point, please take a walk. There's no point you're not happy doing the work. And your ability to be creative on the job make a sense out of it becomes limited because you are not thinking. And oftentimes the opportunity for growth becomes limited. People will see through you that you're not happy, you are cranky, you are bitter, you attend to customer rather than doing it politely, you're a bit very aggressive, you are transferring aggression from not being happy on the job to the customers. Please don't be at that place. Okay, that's basically what I will suggest as practical as possible. And again, in opting out, right, you may also want to evaluate what can I really do right now? Right? What leverage do I have? Have you thought of exploring opportunity within that same organization that may align with your interests? And if you've done all of that and there's no way out, then you can exit, really. Again, you shouldn't go to places where you are not excited going to. If the alignment between the job and your personal person are apart. I hope that answers your question.
I think that's a beautiful answer. That's a great answer. That's a great answer, really. And one thing I've taken away is that you have options, as in you're not boxed in. There really are options.
Absolutely.
You just need to sit down and evaluate the pros and cons and make the best decision. You're also sharpening your decision making skill, which is one of the skills for the future too. All right. Thank you so much, Maris. We're really pressed for time now, so I have to be calling up our second speaker right immediately. There's a question from Oluwa Rotimi. I'd crave your indulgence. That question will be answered by our next speaker, who incidentally happens to be Coach Wesi. I'll just do a quick rundown of her profile. She's the convener of this session, and she's no stranger to us. And her full name, or her government name, as I have come to adopt now, is Abike Wesi, and she's a senior HR executive, broadly experienced in human resources management, and has over 25 years of practice to her credit. Currently, she's a general manager, human resources and admin at Mutual Benefits. Prior to her time at Mutual, she had worked as the divisional head of the human capital management division of Heritage Bank. She was also the group CHRO at InterSwitch, and has served as the general manager, HR and admin for both custodian and allied insurance and NACO Aviance, and had done some time too in talent development as a senior manager with GSK and Sterling Bank, and also as a consultant with PricewaterhouseCoopers. So she has very varied experience in various sectors. And in terms of her professional qualification, she's a chartered professional in human resources in Canada, UK, and Nigeria, and is a certified coach with the International Coaching Federation. She has quite a number of awards to her kitty. Two notable ones is the HR Leader of the Year and HR Champion of the Year. With a great applause and welcome in the chat session, please join me in welcoming Abike Wesi. She takes us on employability skills. Remember when we were when she was giving her keynote address, we noted that word, employability. Employability skills for today, notably adaptability, teamwork, and communication. Coach Wesi, if you're on the call, please, you can take over from here.
Thank you so much, Izzy. Good evening once again, everybody. Please, I'd like to share my screen. Thank you. So I'm sure we had a wonderful time with Maris, and you will realize that some of even though we didn't see each other's slides, but we're talking about the same thing. So in the next 30 minutes thereabout, you'll be looking at thriving at work, empowering your transition into the professional world. It's completely different from, while in school. So we want to thrive. We don't just to mumble and fumble while at work. So let's dive in right away. The workplace is dynamic and full of opportunities. But it's not everybody that actually enjoy the opportunities available in the workplace. Beyond what we're taught in school, a lot of us, what we were taught in school is different from what we're doing at work. School, education, qualification just provide that platform and helps us to be able to have an open mind. The ability to adapt is so important in the workplace. To be able to connect and express ourselves, that's what will shape this career success, not even the knowledge we have. You may have a first class and may not thrive in the workplace if you don't know the skills, or you need to be able to adapt and connect and express yourself appropriately in the workplace. So thriving, what does thriving really mean? It means to have a growth mindset. You are curious, you are engaged, you are motivated, you are happy with what you are doing, like Mary said. You are proactive. You seek feedback, whether it's positive or negative. And you try to balance life and work so that you are not too stressed, because if you are too stressed, it can actually end life very fast and one will not be able to thrive at work. So thriving means all this. So today, in the next 25-30 minutes, we'll just be discussing what do I need to do to be able to thrive at work. So there are some basic habits that you can't do without if you really want to thrive. Maurice spoke so well about self-awareness. Who exactly are you? What are your strengths? What are your triggers? What motivates you? What are your areas of improvement? Most times we don't like negative feedback, but don't bury your head under the sand. Let's call it what it is. Areas of improvement, which means there is possibility for you to be able to turn those areas of improvement to strength. Most people that fail on their career journey, they fail because they have not dealt with their areas of improvement. So if you are someone who gets angry easily, if you are someone who, those may be some of your areas, you don't like to work together with other people, you don't have a choice in the workplace because team working skills or ability is required at every level. So understand yourself. Who am I? What are my passions? What do I like? What do I hate? What do I need to work on? And beyond self-awareness, clear communication is very important. How do I communicate to people? How do I express myself? Maybe orally, how do I, express myself when writing? Communication is very important because what you know, your head knowledge, nobody can enter your head to be able to see what is there. You can only verbalize it through communication, through the way you communicate with people, through, your contributions. That's how people will be able to know the stuff you are made of. So communication must be specific, it must be clear, and must be professional. Continuous learning. Like I said, school knowledge is not the same as work skills. Continuous learning is critical. Always learning. Be yearning for knowledge. Seek mentorship. Learn from those who have gone ahead of you. When you have a mentor, the person will share experiences with you so that where they missed it, you will not, be able to avoid that. Continuous learning. Learn everywhere, knowledge is everywhere today. Don't just be restricted to, your specialty alone. Have gamut of knowledge. Be able to know small bits of everything so that you are a well-rounder. You can't thrive without a positive mindset. Don't focus on the problems. We are problem solvers as professionals. Focus on solution. What can I contribute to be able to solve this problem? If you focus on the problems alone, you will be overwhelmed and the solution will not come from you once a problem overwhelms you. Relationship building is critical. Build relationship with people at your level, those who are, lower than you, those who are above you, because the people God is going to use for you on your career journey, they are not far from you. Your peers, people below, don't talk down on a gate man. I listened to the group MD of Sahara, and he said one day, we had a program together, a career program, and he was sharing an experience that he hired a guy because the gate man pleaded with him to hire the guy. He didn't know what the guy did to the gate man, but the gate man brought the CV and was saying, "Oh God, please, this guy needs a job. Please help me to help him." And he just laughed and said, "Why are you begging for him?" But of course, that was how he just said, "Okay, let me have the CV and see what is there." And he saw it and liked it. And the guy was invited for test and interview and passed. And today the guy is a professional just because of somebody would call an ordinary gate man. So relationship building is very, very important across board, actually, not just with your peers alone. The meaning. Okay. So what does it mean to thrive at work? Not just surviving, thriving. You are engaged, you are confident, you are happy, you are always learning, you are growing on your career journey, you have built strong relationship, you are contributing meaningfully, and mentally and emotionally you are sound. That's what it means to be thrive at work. I'll give an example of a guy I met randomly some years ago. I joined Sterling Bank as their head of training. And the lady that was occupying that position was traveling abroad. So his friend had a send forth for him at a Sweet Sensation. And I went there and I met this guy. I didn't know that guy, who was at a time working with KPMG, was like a godsend on my career journey. Through him, I got 3 different types of job through that same guy. So relationship is critical. You don't know who will be used for you. So you need to mind how you relate with people. You must have respect for individual so that when they are placed on a pedestal to support and assist you, they won't think about a bad experience they've had with you. So don't forget, it's critical for you to be knowledgeable. What sells you as a professional is knowledge. And if you don't have the knowledge, go for it. It's available, go for it. From campus to corporate world. In campus, there's structure, your lecturers, what you're supposed to do. You have a timetable, but workplace is completely different. There's more ambiguity in the workplace. You have diverse team. Today, we have about 5 generations of workers in the workplace. Different age, background, culture, diversity in the workplace. So, and once you start working, like my husband told our daughter when she started work at age 20, that now you're an adult. The workplace does not know that this person is young. There's nothing like that. While at Magnum, I had a colleague who was always crying. Every small thing, she would just burst into tears. One day I have to tell her, I said, this is not children's church. So you can't just be crying. We're all adults here. Wake up. And that is how the workplace is. We're all adults. So the expectation is very high. Even if you enter as a graduate trainee, the expectation, a worker is a worker. There's no distinction between, oh, this one has worked for 100 years, this one is just coming. A worker is a worker. You are no longer told what to do every hour. So having initiative is expected from everybody. And if you don't have it, it will be a minus. So you need to brace up because the expectation is high, you know, in the workplace. Corporate world is demanding. Corporate world is always looking for people who are creative, innovative, like Mary shared the various skills that will be needed. Looking for people who will add value, who will take the organization from where it is to the next level. And once they see that kind of person, you know, that's where promotions will go to such people. So employability skills basically is their core transferable skills or behavior or attributes that make us to enter, adapt to, and succeed in the workplace. What are the benefits of having employability skills? They enhance job prospects. They improve career progression. That's why you see some people, they will be stagnant on their career journey because they don't have those skills that organizations are looking for. They contribute to a more dynamic and efficient workplace. These skills are so important. They boost adaptability and resilience. Mary spoke a lot about resilience. They make individuals to be more valuable in a constantly evolving job market. Remember, even when you work with various managers, they know who is actually adding value more than others. And promotion will gravitate towards the person that is adding more value. So we need to develop these skills so that we can continue to add value wherever we find ourselves. The job market is constantly changing. The world of work is constantly evolving, and we must continue to remain relevant. And whatever you need to do to remain relevant, you have to do it. So now I'll speak to the various employability skills. Communication, very important. Your communication must be clear. You must share your thoughts, your ideas with clarity. And don't forget, everything communicates. The way you talk, how you say it, the way you dress, the way you practice empathy, the way you listen, everything communicates. So once someone is looking at you, looking at your reaction, you are already communicating. Even without saying anything, you're already communicating. Working together as a team, how you are able to collaborate with other people is very important, because no organization can survive or succeed without collaboration. So organizations are always looking for people who will collaborate so that they can achieve the strategic objective. You must be able to adapt to new situations, learn quickly, be willing to learn, stay curious, be proactive. The only constant thing in the workplace is change. It is so constant. Any company that does not change will be moved out, you know, of circulation. So organizations are constantly changing. If you don't have problem-solving skills, you won't add much value. You must be able to think critically and make decisions. Employers value people who can think on their feet. They want people who can bring solutions to their problem. Time management is key. If you cannot manage your time, you can't manage life. You must be able to prioritize your task and meet deadlines. Whatever you need to do, have a journal, document your task, and follow up and ensure that you follow through. So all these skills are very critical if you really want to succeed in the workplace. Being initiative and self-motivated is very important. You must be able to take responsibility and be proactive. Nobody's going to teach you or push you or remind you. Once you have a task, you just get it done so that you don't wait until when it's appraisal period and you are hearing that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Leadership is important. You don't become a leader before people see leadership skills in you. With graduate trainees, you can see a leader among them. So it's very, very important, you know, for us to continue to develop our leadership skills, even while working with people, even during interviews. Some assessment center, they are looking for leaders, someone who will just say, I will head this team, or I will make this presentation, you know, is already passing, while those who are docile are just looking, are not doing anything, and they're already failing at the interview. So demonstrating leadership skills is very important. Digital literacy, use of technology. You can't use AI except if AI will not be efficient for you if you really don't know your work. So you need to know your work, then AI will support you. You need to be comfortable using digital tools in the workplace because it makes your work to come out faster. Emotional intelligence is so important. Understand your own emotions and other people's emotions and manage it. Remaining calm under pressure. Every organization is looking for who will work under pressure, but you must be calm under pressure because if you are not calm, you're going to mess everything up. And lastly, professionalism. How do you show your reliability, respect in the workplace? How do you show up? You know, no matter how you're feeling, how do you show up? Professionalism is the only standard that is expected in the workplace, and there's no excuse for anybody at any level, you know, not showing professionalism. So it's very, very important for everybody to be professional. Lastly, it's my last slide. How do you stay strong? You see, we have a lot to do. Be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't think, what if they shut me down? Because if you don't ask, you will never know. Show eagerness to learn, even beyond your job description. Learn. Learn how to add value. Know your team, build rapport early, you know. Observe the culture of the workplace and adapt appropriately so that it will be very, you'll be able to start adding value immediately. Not putting actions at all, you know, is not right. No matter how small those actions are, it will become one-time big efforts with time. So it's very, very important, you know, for us to have all these skills so that we can continue to thrive in the workplace. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Wesley.
Thank you.
Those are powerful nuggets. Just squeezed in there. Punch, 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 punch. My dear audience, I hope you're having a great time. We've had 2 explosive sessions, in my opinion. All right. Thank you very much, Ojolakwe. That's the spirit. I like that hand clap there, please. The chat section has been a bit, it's been a bit diluted. Okay, as things are warming up, we expect to see more energy. Thank you so much, Coach Wesley. You know, there was something that you said now that I think that is going to live rent-free, right, in my head. I've always known it, but you just captured it, that school knowledge is not the same as work knowledge at all. You know, especially if you've schooled in Nigeria, a whole lot of us come from various backgrounds that, you know, people get to wonder, how exactly is it that you're able to do what you're doing? You learn a lot of it on the job, and it is all about how open your mind is, how attuned you are to exploring what is happening around you, how you make the time count. Okay, so that was brilliant. That was beautiful. And we love it. Okay, we love it because right now, I don't know about the others but I think I can speak for them. We have an idea of what employability, you know, looks like. And it's not even rocket science. Do you understand? These are just simple attitudinal changes and behaviors and adjustments you need to make to your mindset, to your personality, to your ability to speak to people, get feedback, work on it, to adapt to change, to adapt to situations, to look for solutions to problems. Okay, so that was a very beautiful one. And I think it also aligns with the earlier poll that we shared earlier. A great number of people chose option D, where they said they want to know what is obtainable in today's job market. There you have it. Okay, it's not complex at all. there are a couple of questions, but there was this one I reserved. And I'm sure by the time I share the question with you, you would have an idea why I reserved it for you. Okay, one of our participants asked a question. He said, how do you advise somebody who is already approaching retirement age, but is yet to be fully fulfilled career-wise? How would you advise somebody who is at this stage in their life? I know that somewhere in the works, you know, it's a program for people in this bucket, but the question has come in here at this point. So, Coach West, we would like to hear from you. What advice would you give, you know, somebody who is in that situation?
Okay, so majority of people are not fulfilled in the workplace. If you want to get fulfillment from work, you're not likely going to get it. What work does for you, or wherever you work, provides a platform for you to be able to discover what you want to do. So while the platform is provided, you mix with people, you get involved in different things, and you know, you continue to search what fulfills me as a person. It was after I was 50 years that I was asking myself, what am I going to do after this career? Most people don't ask themselves that question, but it's a question we need to ask ourselves. And that's what actually got me into coaching. Because during that period, coaching federation in US were having their coaching week and their programs were online. And I just joined some of the webinar and I said, oh, this looks nice. It just resonated with me that I would love to do this. And I started with an online program that costs 10,000 Naira. But as I progressed, I went to do the certification that cost like $3,000, you know, and I'm still going to write an exam next May. So that's what the world of work does for you. It gives you the robust mind, the openness, you know, the flexibility for you to be able to try different things and know which one exactly fulfills you as a person.
Wow, there you have it. You're not going to get that fulfillment. It's most likely you're not going to get that fulfillment you're looking for there. And even if you have it, you know, just as there are seasons in our lives, yes, you could get to that season where it stops being as fulfilling as it was. But one thing that nobody can take away from you is the exposure, right, Coach Wesley? The exposure that the position or the job offers you. And that is what will form the staircase that you will use to climb onto the next level and to, you know, what will be fulfillment for you in your new season. Shaya, that question came from you. I hope it has effectively been answered. Okay, one more question, Coach Wesley, before we move on to our next speaker. And this person is asking, how does a recent graduate with a 2-2 help his or her chances of employment in the corporate world? No, I know back in the days, like most of those what they call it, the A-class or the A-class recruiters or the big organizations would give you a 2-1 minimum degree. But I think that has watered down over a bit with all the things that have happened, everything, yeah. So, but you know, still upon still, you know, a 2-2 is not a 2-1. And in terms of grading and shortlisting, some will get preferential advantage, which boils down to one of those things we were trying to achieve with the program. How do I better my chances as a candidate with 2-2?
So the first thing is your mindset, really. Organizations don't want to hire only first class or 2-1 because they know they won't stay. I remember while working in the bank and we had graduate training program, we were told not to hire only first class and 2-1. So there was a percentage of first class, 2-1, 2-2. And I've had people who had passed and they are working today. So number one, don't 2-2 is still not bad, even though it's not the best in school. But like we said, a lot of organizations are not even looking at that again. The world of work, it's what you can contribute. It's more important than the certificate you are carrying. You can have first class and you can't contribute anything. You can't communicate effectively. Your presentation skills is horrible. You know, you can't work together as a team. That's what organizations are looking for. So don't allow the fact that you have tutu, you know, to make you feel you are not qualified. No, you are qualified. Most organizations are not looking at class. Please help us mute Olayinka Ali. So please, you can get to whatever level you want to put in your career. I have a nephew who made a pass and we're all feeling so bad and sorry for him. But the guy started work, even though he went back to school for masters, he started work before he went back to school for masters, and he's thriving today in his career. In fact, in less than 5 years, he's already a manager in the organization where he's working, and he had a pass. So you have better chances.
It starts in your head. It starts in your head there. If you think you are disadvantaged, most likely you will be approaching things from a disadvantaged point of view. But if you look at the advantages of whatever degree or whatever certificate you have, or your skills in general, you know, you'll be thinking from an advantage point of view. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much, Coach Wesley. I'd like to appreciate all both speakers, Coach Wesley and Maris, who spoke earlier. Please do not leave the call. We're still going to have our picture session. I'm sure you must have seen a prompt, you know, from Vivian enabling the photo thingy, because right after our next speaker, who incidentally is going to be Vivian, we would have a photo session before we move into our final session for today. Thank you so much, Coach Wesley. The chat session is filled with thanks and accolades for both you and Maris. It's been really wonderful. Interestingly, like you said, it's not like you guys share slides, but we're all speaking the same truth, which goes to show that this is what it is out there. You know, it's not more than this. It's not complicated. Like I said, it's not rocket science. It's just you applying yourself. Thank you so very, very much. So I'll be introducing our next speaker. It gives me, you know, great joy to introduce her. Most times she works from the background. You know, she's right there doing her bit to make sure that the programs go well, handling the communications, handling the setting up, the systems and all of that. And we have this rare opportunity of having her occupy the spotlight, you know, for once. And she's going to be talking about something that she is an authority on, I dare say. Okay, and you all have a great privilege to actually hear her talk on this subject matter. Trust me, as in, she is an authority. When I say she's an authority, she's an authority. Our next speaker is Vivian Ngogo, and she is a dynamic HR professional with over 7 years of experience in energy, insurance, and the financial sectors. Okay, so right now she works as a HR professional at the Development Bank of Nigeria, and she has demonstrated exceptional expertise with evidence in recruitment, performance management, learning and development, as well as employee engagement, right? She holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy, is a certified human resource professional, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Human Resources Management. Right now, she's undertaking her master's degree in digital transformation from Nexford University. She's been recognized as a top LinkedIn voice in HR in 2023, and also as a global talent acquisition expert in 2024. Her proficiency in LinkedIn optimization has led her to successfully enhance the profiles of over 150 people across 6 countries. And her specialty is in empowering senior executives gain visibility and become thought leaders. Or I think I would even rephrase that, become visible thought leaders. Notably, 4 of her clients have achieved global public speaking engagements, prestigious positions and relocation, as well as remote job placements. She is the pioneer of the Career Visibility Club and has created a vibrant community of professionals who are dedicated to transforming their careers and enhancing their profiles. She's also the author of Which Job is Good for Me and the Job Hunting Bundle, 10 in 1, where she has been able to provide valuable insight to job seekers. Additionally, she is our beloved program manager of the Coach Wesley Initiative and has founded the Cracking the Code series, which is a bi-monthly LinkedIn audio event that is focused on career acceleration. Vivian has had the opportunity of speaking at numerous webinars and has shared her strategies for professional development on several platforms. Beyond her career, she's committed to giving back to the community and actively participates in the Big Man Initiative, which focuses on charitable efforts and societal contributions. She chooses to identify as a solopreneur. And what does that entail? Well, she leverages her skills to optimize CVs and create outstanding LinkedIn profiles and empower careers. With a great thunderous virtual accolade, I'd like you all to welcome Vivian as she takes us through CV writing and optimization, with a focus on ATS-friendly resumes and cover letters. Vivian, it's nice to see your face in the spotlight. Welcome
Thank you
to the
so much.
Welcome to the spotlight. Now that we're seeing you in the spotlight, you will not go to the back again solo.
Amen.
We'll progress from there. You're welcome, Vivian, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my colleague, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. And to my senior colleagues that has graced the stage and has shared with us beautiful insights on growth mindsets. That's a very amazing presentation. So before I begin my presentation, I would like to speak about or start off from what Coach Wesley said. So she mentioned that the world of work has moved from what you studied in school, right, to skill-based. So the world of work now is more skill-based. And that is why I'm going to tie that into CV writing. How best can you optimize your CV so that your skills, your expertise can shine forth and you can get your foot in the door at the right time, right? Majority of persons, they have experiences, they have amazing experiences, but somehow they've not been able to showcase this via their CV. So they end up getting reject mails over and over and over and over again. This is something I've seen time and time again. I am a recruiter in my current organization, and trust me, I've seen crazy CVs. So this session, I'm going to expose some things that a lot of people take for granted. I'm also going to shed more light into the best way to create ATS-friendly resumes. I know that we've heard about ATS over and over again, but we do not really know how that works, right? So I'm going to shed more light on that. So let's just go straight into it. We already know what our rules is. So today I'm going to be talking about what resume is, the difference between a resume and a CV, different resume formats you may know or you may not know, writing tips for your resume, how to understand ATS, what ATS is, how to build an ATS-friendly CV, as well as cover letter secrets. Right, then we go straight into the question and the answer section. Now we are in Nigeria, and we use CVs and resumes interchangeably. However, there is a big difference between the CVs and resumes, right? But before I go into the difference, what you should know is that a resume will definitely make you stand out. So I want us to paint a picture in our mind. Think about the distribution channel that we learned in school, where you have the manufacturer, then you have the wholesaler, the retailer, and then down to the consumer. Just have this picture at the back of your mind, because as I go through my slides, I'm going to use that particular analogy times and time again so that you can literally understand how this play out in the world of work, right? So back to the difference between CVs and resumes. CVs are more extensive. When you go to the foreign world, you get to see them speak more about CV. So your CV it's called curriculum vitae, right? And that's what includes, the full extent of your experience, your expertise, your academic credentials, your professional experience, everything that sums up who you are as a professional. You have that on your CV. But your resume is more concise. It's more or less like a summarized version of your CV. So here you most likely just highlight your skills and your qualification. But like I said, we are in Nigeria, and I'll restrict this to the best of my ability to the Nigerian context, right? We use this interchangeably, and it really do not matter which I'm referring to. So if I say resume or I say CV, I'm literally talking about your portfolio, your profile that you submit when you're applying to a job, right? So let's quickly go into the different type of resume formats that currently exist and why you should know them and who should use which type of format. I want to understand that the audience, we have a very large mix of entry-level graduates, freelancers to career professionals, mid-levels, and senior career professionals. So these different resume formats will apply to the different groups that are currently on the call. So let me start with the chronological CV format. Now, the chronological CV format, you use this particular CV format when you want to highlight your work experiences, right? From the very first work experience you have up until the latest one that you have. So this particular one is very ideal for experienced professionals. If you already have years of experience in a particular field, then this is the one that you should use, because this actually was going to help you position yourself and just spotlight your skills and experiences properly. Now, the next format is the functional CV format. This is very good for recent graduates. You do not have years of experience. You are more of a volunteer. You have more experiences volunteering or interning, right? So you do not have like a concrete work experience that you can showcase. Then the functional CV is good for you. So here you're most likely going to be showcasing your skills, your achievements, your educational qualifications, whatsoever qualifications that you have acquired along the line, be it professional or otherwise. You're going to showcase it more before you dive into your experience section, right? And then the last is the third rather is the combination of both the chronological and the functional. So here is when the people who are entry level, or if you just have like a various set of skills and experiences, then you use the combination, whereby you are also showcasing your achievements first before you even go into your experience section. So along the line, I'm also going to show different CVs so that you can actually understand what I am talking about. Okay, so let's move on to what you need to know before writing a resume. Now, if you are a recent graduate, what I have noticed over time is quite a number of people are lazy. You are lazy. So I'm going to be saying things as it is, right? A lot of people are lazy. You want to send in your CV for a particular job that you have seen, and you are not taking time to look through your CV to know if the skills that you have on that particular CV relates to that particular job that you are trying to apply to. So remember, I said I was going to link what I'm going to be discussing now to what Abike mentioned about the world of work is now skills-based, right? So if you are going to be applying to different jobs or different roles, maybe you're a fresh graduate, so you have not really figured out the role that you want to apply, because I know a lot of people, they are going through this confusion and they are just saying, okay, let me just apply to any kind of jobs, right? I'm sure that along the course of this program, in the next coming Saturdays, we're also going to touch base into how to go about that kind of mindset. So if you are still finding yourself, really between the kind of jobs to apply and whatnot, you also need to take your time to also work on your CV to apply to each of those roles, showcasing that, each of these CVs you are submitting shows the skills for those particular roles. Okay, so what do you actually need to know before you even start writing a CV? Preparation is key. You need to be prepared. You need to be prepared for the work that you have ahead of you. Yeah. While I was coming into the job market, when I just finished my NYSC, I had a mentor then, and she told me that, you know, if you have to look for a job, then you have to take it that your job at that particular point in time is to look for a job. So when people wake up early in the morning, they dress up, go to the office 8 to 5. I'm also dressing up and full on looking for a job, working on CVs, submitting my CVs, and just reading up, right? So you have to really, really be prepared. We've spoken a lot about growth mindset. So this fits into what we are talking about now, preparation. Now, your CV is your first impression. Now, you are the manufacturer of this CV, and you are trying to create a product that is going to sell. Remember, I said we're going to be talking about the distribution channel, right? So you are the manufacturer of this CV, and literally what you need is you need an email that will tell you come for an interview. That is your major goal with your CV. That's the first major thing you need to have at the back of your mind when you are creating your CV and when you are sending in your CV. You need a yes from the organization that you're applying to. Your CV is only going to help you get that yes, come for an interview. Then when you go for your interview, you can now, you know, impress your recruiters or impress the panelists or whosoever that is going to be interviewing you, right? But the first things first is your CV, which is the first impression. So how do you want to package your products? Do you want to make it to be shabby? Do you want to make it to not to deliver the right skills that particular job that you're going for is? So this, please have it at the back of your mind that your CV is your first impression. Now, a lot of companies make use of ATS. Yes, we're in Nigeria, so we still have a mix of companies that still do manual shortlisting, whereby you apply via emails and whatnot, right? But 98% of large companies currently use the applicant tracking system, right? So you also need to understand what this is. You need to know how it's functions, and I'm also going to delve into that shortly. Now, in Nigeria, HR spends 6 to 10 seconds on a CV, and I can tell you for a fact that it could even be lesser than those seconds I have on my screen. The reason I'm saying this is because by the time a job ad goes out and people start applying, you guys can also testify to this, that sometimes when you go on LinkedIn and then you see a job that has an easy apply button, if that job was posted, say, 10 minutes ago, you most likely be seeing 100 people has applied for this job. So that gives you an idea of how competitive this market is. So at the flip side is the recruiter having to spend time looking through all of these CVs. Remember also that the recruiter has a job to fulfill. She or he needs to get the right candidates, the right talent for that particular job. And while she's also doing this, the recruiter also have a turnaround time that he or she needs to meet to be able to fill that role, right? So having all of this at the back of your mind, you know already that a recruiter is not going to spend a lot of time looking at just one CV. So there is something that you have to do so that your CV is going to jump at the recruiter while your CV is being opened. Now, your recruiter in this particular in the distribution channel here, I'll term as the retailer, right? The ATS now, just see the ATS as your wholesaler, right? I'm going to explain all of this shortly. So your recruiter here now is your retailer. So your CV, you are the manufacturer, you have sent in your CV, it got to the ATS. The ATS, who is the wholesaler, has scanned through, looked through it, passes it to the retailer, who is the recruiter at the other hand. And the recruiter is going to send that job to the consumer, who is the hiring manager, right? Now that brings us to the fourth point. Your CV must mirror the job description. Now, while the HR person is, or the recruiter is looking through your CV in those milliseconds, trust me, he or she will miss out some things, right? Because they are just picking on one or two things, maybe keywords, sections, checking out criteria from JDs and whatnot. By the time your CV has been shortlisted and it goes to the hiring manager, your hiring manager is going to now delve into now really scrutinizing your CV, checking, does this CV in any way mirror what I want? Because the job description carries all of the criteria and specifications that they need for that particular talent to come on board. So when your CV gets to the hiring manager, then you as the producer, if you have not done a good job in ensuring that the job description that you're applying for is not mirrored on your CV, then just know that your CV is going to the trash. And guess what? You are going to get that regrets mail, right? So you do not want that. And that's why your job description is very important. Now, by the time you take time, prepare properly, you create a CV that hits the right, that has the right keywords, that has the right criteria that the recruiter can pick in the first 6 seconds, that also mirrors the JD. When the hiring manager is looking through it, then trust me, you are going to pass both the bots, that's the ATS, and the human elements in screening your CV. Right? So let's look at what an ATS is. An ATS is a machine. It scans your CV. It looks at keywords to filter through myriads of CVs. And if any CV is not having the right keywords, it's going to be rejected. So this is it. Your ATS is your computer. Your computer is garbage in, garbage out. Is what I feed into it. That's what it's going to give to me, right? So at the end of the day, if I, the recruiter, has put in, okay, my criteria for, say, a data analyst, I say, the CV must have keywords like maybe data analyst, business intelligence analyst, or things like that, must have SQL, Excel, ETL processing, and some other of all these keywords, but your CV lacks 80% of those keywords. Trust me, it's not even going to get to be downloaded or something by the recruiter. So it's already rejected at a very early stage. And that is why you need to understand how an ATS works. So an ATS will search for job relevant keywords that has been fed into it. It's going to prioritize simple formats. If you have fancy CVs that has charts, I've seen CVs with charts, pictures. It's crazy. If it's going to be passing through an ATS, trust me, that ATS is going to trash it. It's also going to rank candidates by relevance. So depending on the criteria that has been fed into the ATS, your CV is going to have to pass through that check. Okay, so let's quickly look at the top resume mistake that's the top mistakes that resumes typically have, right? So first and foremost, I've already mentioned that some CVs have photos and templates right in it. It's not nice. If you're a creative, for instance, that is people that does graphics design, writing and whatnot, you need to have a portfolio, and that is what a portfolio is for, right? So you need to have a portfolio. So rather than having all of that in your CV, you need to put that in your portfolio. Now, some people, you would have your CV and then you still have curriculum vitae written as the heading in your CV. It's not right. If it's going to be passing through an ATS will be picking that as the job title or as a job role, which in this case is not, right? So you do not even need to have that in your resume. Then unprofessional emails, I'm sure that we've seen this times and times again in maybe LinkedIn, or people just randomly talking about the kind of emails that should be on a CV. So if you have very funny looking emails like this, please take it out from your CV. It doesn't in any way show professionalism. It's not nice. We don't want to know whether you're hot or cold. Please take it out. If your CV have a lot of typos, if you have wrong job titles, so for instance, you are applying for a business development manager and your CV has social media manager. That's a wrong job title for the job that you're applying for. Trash. That's where your CV will land, right? So you need to take note of all these things. If you have too much information, personal information, you're married, you're not married, some of you will have the full-on address, plot, so and so number, so and so. We don't need that. Even for security reasons, it's not necessary, right? Take it out from your CV. Your date of birth is not necessary. Take it out. All of this information are too personal and it's not really needed. Your sex, that's your gender, it's not needed. Take it out. Even local government area, some people put their local government area, it's not necessary. Take it out. So another thing I've noticed is quite a number of people also make the mistake of, I don't know whether they are too excited in creating a wonderful CV, and then they miss the one that is very important, your phone number, your email address, your LinkedIn profile. I've seen too many. In fact, there was a time I was going through a CV. I looked at this CV. I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect candidate I'm looking for, at least based on what I saw from the CV and how it matches the job description. And then I'm looking for the contact information. It's missing. I was thinking, okay, it's at the bottom of the CV. I scroll to the bottom of the CV. It's nowhere to be found. Okay, I picked up the names. There was no LinkedIn profile, no email, no contact. I picked up the name. I went to LinkedIn. Trust me, not all recruiters are patient like that. I went to LinkedIn to see if I could search up this individual. I think after the third page or something, the third search results page, I found somebody that seems to be like him. I went onto the page, tried to see if I could send a message. I realized that this LinkedIn profile was dead on arrival. Like, there was really nothing on that LinkedIn that mirrored the CV I was looking at. I was like, okay, let's still give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's send him a message and just see if by any chance he would respond. And trust me, up until this very moment, I haven't gotten any response. So this person is not even alive on a platform that he should be alive in, and his CV is contactless. So you do not want to miss out on very important informations like this that should be on your CV. Of course, make sure that you look out for spellings, grammar errors, and things like that. Another thing that I did not mention here is your date formatting. Your date formatting also matters a whole lot. And the reason is because sometimes on your job description, I don't know, some of you would have noticed some job descriptions that we have years of experience, right? Minimum years of experience and whatnot. And ATS can also calculate how many years of experience you have based on the dates that you already have on your experience section. Now, if you do not format your dates properly, say in the last job experience that you have, you wrote 01/03/2024, 01 meaning the day, 03 meaning the month, and then 2025, of course, the year. And then you're saying 2, and then you switch the month and the day in the next one. It's just going to be really confusing. And at the end of the day, the ATS will end up not being able to calculate your years of experience properly, which may also not be an advantage to you in the long run. So all of what I have here is what we have on the chat. So we are going to move straight into the next, because I know that we are behind time. I have already spoken at length around the number of resumes that recruiters receive on a daily basis. And trust me, there are different kinds of recruiters. There are in-house recruiters, and this is most likely going to be an average. Now, think about consultants, recruiters that are working in consultancy firms. They'll be receiving more numbers of these resumes. And then these are the kind of people that will be looking through CVs, right? And that is why you need to actually make sure that your CV stands out from get-go. When you have sections, let it be legible, let it be bright, let it be easy to read, okay? Use fonts, don't use all these fancy fonts. I'm going to show you all of that, what a good CV looks like, what a bad CV looks like very shortly. But let's just move on to the tips. that you should look out for when you are optimizing your resume. You see this, my keyword optimization here has like a crown on the head. I intentionally put it up there because keyword optimization is key when you are optimizing when you're writing your CV, for anything that you're doing, be it CV or cover letter or even LinkedIn. Keyword optimization is key, right? And how do you go about doing this? Number one, you already have your job description that you have seen that has attracted you to say, oh, I know I can do this job and I want to send in my CV. You know you can do the job does not necessarily mean that the recruiter knows that you can do the job. And the recruiter has already placed a job advert that you have seen. What you can do to make sure that the recruiter knows that you can actually do that job is to get keywords from the job advert and infuse it in your CV. I'm not saying that you should go and lie on your CV, disclaimer, because I know that a lot of people, they have mastered the art of extracting keywords, infusing it in their CVs, scaling through the whole shortlisting process. And at the end of the day, when they are called for interviews, they cannot in any way defend what their CV says about them. So please do not use this in a way that would not be good, right, in the long run. So extract keywords from job adverts, infuse it in your CV, and do it naturally. There are different sections in your resume, and we're going to look at that also. So the places that you are going to be putting these keywords would be where you have skills, where you have experience, if you have project or tools as a section in your CV. These are additional sections that you can also include keywords. It's going to be very, very helpful. Also, if you know the jargons, of course, you're going to know the jargons because this is your field, right? So the jargons, the technical jargons that your skill area has. For instance, in HR, you hear things like performance management, KPIs, career management, succession planning. These are jargons that are key to HR. In data analysis, you hear things like statistical analysis, extract, transform, load, visualization, dashboarding. All of these things are jargons that are relatable to that particular role. So infuse your CVs with the right technical terms that speak specifically to the role that you're applying for, so that your CV can be ranked high when it passes through an ATS, or even when a human eye is just looking through it and they can just easily pick, okay, I can see all of these things and I know that this person definitely has the skills, right? So I've already explained how to avoid, avoid vague terms, don't bluff, don't bluff, don't lie. Some people, because you have heard, make sure that there are metrics in your CVs. Your CV is number driven. Then you will now start writing things like, I was able to, I had 100% utilization of budget as well as saved 60% from budget. Please, how do you reconcile both? How do you save money and as well as, utilize all the money? So when you are crafting your CV, make sure you read every line, make it make sense to you, make it make sense to whosoever that is going to be reading what you have done. If you have achievements that you have done, right, in your previous place of work, ensure that you highlight it properly. Speak to achievements. Don't talk about tasks. Don't talk about things that your team did. The CV is yours. It's not your team CV, right? So speak to your achievements on the CV. Of course, I've spoken about your contact information is key. Use bullet points. Don't cluster your words together. It's not nice. It's not going to make it easy to read, as well as it's going to go straight into the trash the moment anybody opens it, because nobody has the time to start reading line by line, because I already explained how the number of CVs are dropping in. So your template should be clean, very simple. Don't do all those paparazzi things where you have different colors, you have conflicting colors, you have pictures, you have charts, you have all of those things. There's really no need for that. Let your CV to be clean and job appropriate, right? So I already spoke about job keywords that you'd see in what's it called now, in job ads. So I'm going to click on one of this link. I would have done the two, but let's just do one because of time. So I'm going to click on this link. I'm going to stop sharing and share the whole of my screen now so that we can, what I need you to do is when you look at the job ad, I need you to pick the keywords from the job ad that speaks to you immediately. Anything that jumps at you, I would like you to actually tell me via the chat box. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at the chat box. So let me stop sharing and quickly reshare my screen. Okay. Okay. So now let's take a look at this. I'm currently sharing a senior product manager job description, and I would like us to just take a quick look at this job description. So this particular job description is for a senior product manager at Test Gorilla, right? And this is what they put. They had a fancy man talking to people, explaining what the role is all about. And then this is exactly where we should start looking at, right? The responsibilities. So quickly, via the chat box, I would like to see what maybe 2 or 3 keywords that has jumped at you that you most likely be interested in putting in your CV if you're a senior product manager and you want to apply to this job. Okay. So I'm waiting via the chat box. Cross-functional, leverage data and user insight. Okay. Cross-functional is just a word. It's not necessarily a keyword. So you may need to take note of that. Strategy. Okay. Strategy is good. I need more. Let me scroll down a bit. There's a lot that I'm seeing here. I need more. 2 more so that we can go straight into it. Okay. Collaborate, leverage, strategy, leadership. Yes, I can see leadership. Great. Product strategy. So strategy is coming up time again and again. So yes. So what customer centric, amazing. So what you need to take note of is beyond the whole who we are as a brand and whatnot, and you need to take note of what the role is about, right? Why they need that person. Then you need to go straight into the responsibility and understand exactly what this person will be doing, right? So here you can see that they will need someone that is very good with collaboration. So when you talk about collaboration, of course, what comes to your head again is stakeholder management, right? Leadership. I can see a lot of marketing and sales here. So this is something that you would most likely want to put in your skills section on your CV, right? You can see customer management because you're going to be talking to customers. You can have that on your CV. You can see leverage data. So data analysis, you need it to be on your CV under the skills section. Also in your experience section, you want to really talk about how you have actually leveraged data in the place that you have worked, right? And you need to put that in your experience section under your CV. what you bring. Okay, here you can still see if you can look for one or two things. You can see communication is here. Data driven again is coming up, utilizing AI. So you also want to put it in your experience section of how you have moved your organization or your current organization where they are into being an AI driven organization, maybe within your team or something like that. So you need to take note of all of these things that are just jumping at you from your job description and infusing it into your CV, because that is literally what's going to help you move from the stage of knocking on the door into entering into the building. Okay, so quickly, let me stop sharing and move back to my slide. Okay. All right. I am back. All right, so next we are going to be looking at key sections of an ATS friendly CV, right? Number one, the contact information, very key, very important. You want to ensure that your information is clearly spelled out. Your profile summary, this is a very important part of your CV. I remember when Mr. Maris was on the call and he also spoke about at length around this. Quite a number of people, they just write a lot of jargons. You know, you go to AI, ChatGPT or something, and then you create one kind of profile summary, and then you just carry it and dump it into your CV. And it's not in any way aligning to what the rest of your CV is saying. That doesn't make sense, right? So even if you're going to be using ChatGPT to create your CV or work on your CV or create like a profile summary or something, you have to, like I say, these things are here to enhance what you do already. It's not expected, you are not expected to just be on a 0 level. You have to give it what it's going to give back to you. So your prompting has to be 100% for whatever you're trying to get out of it to be good also. So if you want ChatGPT, for instance, to write a profile summary for you, then you have to prompt it in such a way that you are giving it details around what you have done. So for instance, I'm an HR professional. I can go to ChatGPT and say, okay, act as a resume writer and create a very short paragraph or block of text for a CV, a profile summary for a CV for an HR professional who has so and so years of experience and has expertise in doing this. I literally have to feed my information to ChatGPT so that it's going to craft something good that when it comes up and I read through again, I can as well rephrase it so that it goes into my CV and it makes a whole lot of sense, right? So it's not that you're just going to carry it garbage in, garbage out, and then you're just dumping it, and then your profile summary is full with grammar, a lot of grammars that nobody understands. So you need to take care with doing that. I'm also a very strong advocate of AI and making use of AI. So, but you need to know how to make use of it. Work experience is also a very important section of an ATS CV that will literally help you scale through the CV stage. So let me give you another example. For instance, if you're applying into an organization for an HR role, in HR, there are different functions under HR. So you can be an HR person, but then maybe you have more experience in, say, L&D over recruitment, or you have more experience in employee engagement over compensation and benefits, right? But that particular role that you are trying to apply, in as much as it's an HR role, speaks more to L&D, but you've done more of recruitment, and then you have, okay, say you want to be smart. You have your name, and then you have learning and development professional as your job role, so that you want the ATS to pick your CV, right? And then you even become smarter. You change all of your skills to have all of the skills for an L&D professional, and then your experience section is speaking to recruitment. That's a huge misalignment of what you claim the skills you have versus the experience that you have done, right? So you need to take note of these things because it's something that we literally take seriously. We look at why we are shortlisting CVs for a particular role. Skill section, also very important. In fact, this is where 80% of your keywords should sit in, right? Another way you can also use AI to get skills is that job description that you have seen. You can prompt the GPT and tell it to extract keywords that will go into the CV from that job description, and then when you give it, it's going to analyze it and then just bring out in bullet points the keywords that are skills that can go into your CV. Education, very important as well. In as much as now organizations are not looking so much into what you read in school, we definitely want to know that you graduated, because we are in Nigeria and you actually have to graduate, you know, do your NYSC and whatnot, right? So we want to actually see that on your CV, that you're a graduate of whatever university and you studied so and so course, right? We want to see that on your CV. Certifications also very important, especially if you're applying for an experience role. That's one of the criteria specifically says, oh, you need to be a certified member of so and so body. So if you're certified, you literally need to have that on your CV. If you are a recent graduate, you're trying to break into the job market, but you have done some trainings or some certifications, then please, by all means, portray that on your CV as well, but do not let it to be at the bottom of your CV. Make sure it is like at the top of your CV, right? In no specific order should you actually put this down. Of course, your contact and professional summary will come first, but if you are a recent graduate, then you want to also put up your education, you also want to put up your skills before you talk about your experience, because of course you don't have that vast experience, right? But if you're an experienced hire, then please, by all means, you can put up your experience first before some of the other things. Of course, these are not the only sections that can go on your CV, but these are the standard sections that should be on your CV. So other sections that you can create on your CV would be language, especially if you are applying to like development finance sectors or NGOs and things like that. Language, very important. Achievements, very important. Tools, very important. One question will now be, should I put referees on my CV? You can have a section for referees, which will be the last, and then just have a statement that says available upon request, right? That's really fading out, really. Nobody needs to see anybody's information, name, email address. That's all gone. You don't need to have that on your CV. For formatting, ATS formatting, make sure that the fonts that you're using are very legible, and these are my go-to, right? These are my go-to fonts. These are not the only fonts that you can use, but these are my go-to. Use simple bullet points, you know, the round bullet points, right? You don't necessarily need to number it 1 to 3. You don't necessarily need to use the, you know, very fancy, just very simple bullet points. When you're aligning your text, align them to the left. Don't let it to be misaligned. It's not going to have like a very readable look when you have that like that. No text boxes, no headers, no footers. There's really no need for that. I looked at somebody's CV one time and I even saw a barcode. I saw a signature, like there was a lot of things going on the CV. That's really not necessary. Keep it simple. 2 pages, amazing. If you have a lot of experience, maybe 3 pages, and then you can have an extract where that's where portfolio comes in, right? Where you have all of the other things that you have done. But the very important things that will speak to that particular job that you're applying for, you can have that on your CV. So now let's quickly look at I'm so sorry, I am speaking as well as admitting people. So let's quickly look at what a good CV looks like and what a bad CV looks like. So as as usual, I'm going to stop sharing and then share my whole screen. Hopefully, the last time I shared my whole screen, I couldn't see it. So I'm going to first of all put up what a bad CV looks like before I put up what a good CV looks like. So sharing now. So I'm just going to ask the audience what they see as wrong in this CV. I'll scroll and then you can just tell me what you think is wrong in this CV. I don't know if I can even see the chat box. Okay, yes, I can. Okay. I can see poor heading. Okay. Let me scroll down a bit. This CV is eligible now, right? But you can see this CV is it's a picture. It's a picture. Wrong dating. Amazing. Good. Let's scroll down. I need more responses. His personal details are too minimized and his summary is too long. Good. Any other thing? I'm just looking out to see something. Please, what is wrong with the date? The date is not formatted properly. 2009 to 2020, 2019 to 2020. That's just about it. I don't know what date, what year, what nothing, what month. Okay, nobody is saying what I'm looking out to see. This CV now is for what exactly, right? I understand that this is an entry level because, okay, you just finished your NYSC in 2020, but what happened again? I can't really see anything. Nothing is really going on. I don't know what this person would be applying for, right? It's just open-ended. It's not specific to nothing. If I'm a recruiter and then I put up a job ad for, say, an executive assistant, right? And I'm looking at this CV, I'll most likely move it to next, right? Because I really don't know what I'm literally looking at here. The next is the skills is so wordy. I'm trying to understand what is going on here. You have written a lot of English. Bullet points would have just done it, right? You are telling me about how you love watching movies, how you love having political discussions. You are doing a lot with telling me things about yourself without really telling me things that will help you secure this job, right? So this is an example of a CV that can be better. Let me see if I can move on and share another CV that is better. Quickly, let's see. Okay, coming up. Yeah. So this is another CV. Looking for my chat section. Okay, so is this CV in any way better than the first in terms of anything that you see? I want to see if there's any change in feeling of anything via the chat section, please. The name is very visible. Yes, you can better formatting, definitely. So let me also use this opportunity to also explain the sections of what I was speaking about. So you can see that here you have your name, your first, your last name. Here you have your job title. Say my name is Vivian, right? And I am an HR person, but because I know that as an HR professional, there are different kind of functions and there are different kind of roles that can be applied as an HR professional. But I am more into learning and development recruitment. So I would definitely have to write, my font is so big, learning and development. I'm also going to put it L and D. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I know that in HR, L and D seems to be thriving more than the words spelled out in full, right? So you need to take note of the things that you know that are more common in your space, right? So I'm also going to have to write recruiter, right? So I'm going to do this because these are the job roles. I want to have the job roles there. I'm not writing learning and development management or recruitment. No, I'm writing the role exactly. Recruiter, L&D manager. That is who I am, and that's what I'm applying for. And that's what the job ad is most likely going to portray. Sales manager, data analysts, not data analysis. I don't know if you get what I mean. Of course, your mobile, your address, make it short, Lagos, Nigeria, Ikeja, Lagos, make it short, no need of the whole long address. Your LinkedIn, your email address. If you have a portfolio, you can also put that there, maybe create another one for portfolio. For your profile summary, you can as well, like I said, keyword is very important. You can have learning and development manager with 10 years of proven experience working in energy, finance, and insurance industry. And then you can go ahead and continue talking about the things. But in your first line already, I have been able to capture the recruiter. The recruiter, without going through my CV, already knows how many years of experience I have, the industries I've worked in, and my role that I have, just by looking at the first line on my CV, right? Then, of course, your skills, have it in bullet points, no plenty drama. I see it, I know the kind of skills that you have. Here, I'm not having key attributes. I'm not having very funny section titles. Your section header should be very, very, you should actually use what it is, skills, because in the ATS, what is going to be there is skills, not key attributes or key competencies or key criteria or some other funny words, right? Key skills. For experience, professional experience, right? And of course, I mentioned dates. Make sure that your date is formatted properly. Don't leave anything open-ended. Make sure it is written in such a way that if somebody wants to pick this particular date and calculate years of experience, the person can be able to calculate it and have a concrete answer from it, right? So quickly scrolling down to education. So you can see your education. You can have whatever you studied, the degree of study, whatever you did, the institution, the year you graduated, not the year you started the school, the year you graduated. If you have to, these are additional sections that can go on your CV. If you have training, if you have professional membership.
Time is 7
already.
My
God. All right. So let me quickly round up then. Thank you so much for telling me about the time. So let's quickly move to, we are almost done. Let's quickly move to cover letter. So for cover letters, you start asking yourself, when should I send the cover letter? How should I send the cover letter? How should I craft the cover letter? In Nigeria here, it's actually very good for you to send your cover letters because it tells the recruiter more about yourself, especially when they specifically ask you to send in a cover letter. You would have seen this thing a lot, especially when you apply via LinkedIn, right? You see a short box, a text box where they'll say, write something to the recruiter or drop a cover letter or something. You can copy and paste. Now, there are 3 things that you should do when you are crafting your cover letter. Number 1, or you can as well phrase that into 3 paragraphs, right? Number 1, you want to talk about the company that you are applying to, right? You want to research the company and know something that they have actually done, right? So say I'm using my current place of work, I can say something like, your recent recognition as, you know, the first company that has gotten the DAE in the development phase. So this goes on to tell the recruiter that you have done your homework. The next paragraph, you want to be talking about what they have put out on that their job description that you claim you say you have and you know you have it. You are going to put that in your second paragraph, telling the recruiter about the years of experience you had, what you know they are looking for in that their job description, and linking it to the experience that you've done. Please don't brag. Don't say what you cannot do. Right? So, because I know there are some of us that we are typewriters, we know how to type those things, but please do not brag. Then the third paragraph, you want to talk about maybe your mission or what you're committing yourself to for the job. Of course, leave it with a call to action. Tell them that you're expecting to hear back from them and whatnot, right? This slide will be shared to you, so you're going to see all of these things. So at the end of the slide, you have like some resources that you can easily use to get free, just some things that you can use. When you get the slide, you're going to get all of that. So this is where I'm going to drop my pen. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you so much, Vivian. For a while, minute back there, I was checking for my unmute button. Oh, that was very intense and very explicit. And I really feel sorry for all those who left before they could get to the end of this session. I mean, these are really practical, very practical things that you need,
Yes.
especially if you're new to the job market, you're already in the job market and you want to scale up or do something different or change. There's several pointers, starting from the difference between a resume and a CV, which we use interchangeably, even down to the point that you even consolidated on, which Maris had mentioned earlier. You know that part about the career objective, you just lift something from somewhere, just slapdash, you know? The crux of everything that you have spoken today, right, speaks so much to intentionality with building that CV. If you don't have a job and you're looking for a job, your job at that present moment is to get a job. And so you will deploy everything, all the resources within your arsenal to being able to do that. And I love how you were able to share with us what's going on well and what isn't going on well with different CVs. I'm also pleased that you're going to be sharing this resource to as many as are on this call right now. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Thank you, Vivian. That was beautiful. So we did say that we were going to take our pictures at this point. Coach Tracy, do we still go ahead and do that? Or should we take our final speaker for today? Before we do that, we're really pressed for time.
Because of time.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
She's been waiting.
Okay. So I'll call her up right now, and after her session, we'll have our photo session. All right, our next speaker is a personal favorite, and please, you could tag every other person who is supposed to be in this meeting but has somehow drifted away. You really don't want to miss this. I love her sessions because they're very interactive. All right, she loves to engage with the audience, so you're in for a very involved time. Of course, she was with us last year and helped us, guided us through the topic of unlocking talent and navigating from jobs to skills, right? Today, we're still having a conversation similar to that. Of course, we are no longer in the era of what you say you can do, but what you can actually do. And today, her topic is going to be on recruitment process insights, navigating the peculiar Nigerian hiring landscape. But just before she comes up, I will quickly run through her profile. Okay, so our next speaker is Lara Yeku. Lara Yeku is the global HR leader. She's an executive coach and mentor, an international speaker and design thinking expert. She's an author who is well recognized for her immense and innovative contributions to the current trends and practices in the evolution of human resource management in Nigeria. She is currently the Divisional Director and Head of HR Food Division at Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC. Omolara is a highly respected HR thought leader and has won several awards, including the 2019 Talent Management Strategist, 100 Women B2B Thought Leadership, and second LinkedIn Top 10 Women Thought Leader in 2022 to follow in Nigeria by People Home. She's a member of the International Coaching Federation, ICF, USA, and a Strength Cup with Gallup Strengths Incorporated, USA. She recently completed an executive education at Yale School of Management. Yay! And she's the founder of the HR Gems Network, a community of professionals with a common goal to be positive change agents. And she's also an author of an innovative storytelling and mentoring book, My HR Storybook. She's happily married and blessed with 3 children and loves to dance and finds fulfillment in impacting lives positively. With a great welcome, please let's welcome Lara. We're so sorry that we did not keep to time, and we are drawing from we're drawing from that part of your profile that says she finds fulfillment in impacting lives positively. This is one of those prizes that we pay to have that impact. You're welcome to our stage today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very mindful of time because I can see that the participant number is dropping. So I'll quickly get to it. I know it's Saturday and we've all been gathered here in the last 2-3 hours learning. I'd like to start by appreciating my sis on the call today. Coach Abike Wese, thank you so much. Amazing. It feels so good to be back again to the team. I'd also like to appreciate all the team members supporting and bringing this initiative to life, as well as all the previous speakers. Vivian, thank you. Fantastic session. But listening to you, I just remembered, I wish we all knew this early days of our career. Thank you, but that was really insightful. Because of time, I would jump straight into today's session. And listening to Maris, Coach Abike, Vivian, honestly, some of the things that I'm going to say, they've mentioned it. What I'm just going to do in my session is to string everything together. Because when we talk about employability, when we talk about mastering the workplace transition, moving from one phase of your career or of your life to another phase, career-wise, it all entails an entry point. We all get to a point where we make a decision and then we are transitioning into a new phase. And that phase is the entry-level phase. That's the recruitment phase. So on that note, I'm here to share very briefly, stringing all that we have heard together today on how to navigate the Nigerian hiring landscape, especially with insights around the recruitment process. Okay, so hoping that at the end of my session, which I intend to make very short, sharp, straight to the point because of time, we'll be looking at 3 key areas: the changes in the recruitment landscape, what is this actually? And then how do we navigate intentionally? And how do we stand out, string it together, all that we have heard today. I remember when I applied for my first job, Coach Abike, I'm sure you would also bear me witness. In those days, application used to be via CVs, some physical CV documents. I also remember Tuesday Guardian, where every Tuesday we look at job posts on the newspaper. I mean, all of those have evolved. In those days where you go to companies and then you drop hard copy CV at the gate of the company. In fact, some companies would have a box in front of their gates where you go in and then drop your CV inside the box at the gate with your application letter. But all of those has evolved over the years. And now it's really important for us to understand what has changed in the recruitment space. Like Vivian mentioned, 8 years. Now, with the evolution of technology, there's a lot around 8 years digital recruitment. But in the early days, it used to be newspaper publication, like I'd mentioned, you post your CV, go to the post office, post your CV and everything. But now all of those has evolved. Now we're in the era of technology, digital era, where we now have job boards, online job boards where you can apply, electronic submission, social media. Now, even on WhatsApp, right? So you get forwarded a job, and before you know it, via WhatsApp, your CV is being asked for. You submit your CV via WhatsApp. Via WhatsApp, they review your CV, invite you, and sometimes even do interview via WhatsApp, video call via WhatsApp. And before you know it, send us your email, blah, blah, you get your job offer. I woke up this morning, I also have a job WhatsApp group where I post vacancies. I woke up this morning to read a chat from someone in my job WhatsApp that mentioned there was a job that was posted on Thursday in the WhatsApp group. He reached out, applied. They invited him for an interview on Friday morning. He couldn't, so he begged to reschedule to midday. He did the interview at midday. By 6 o'clock on Friday, less than 24 hours, he got his job offer, and he's resuming in 2 weeks' time. Just WhatsApp. But so that is the evolution that is happening in the current world of work. 8 years, like Vivian has put us through. But we need to be very mindful and be aware. Even LinkedIn, with LinkedIn now, job adverts is posted on LinkedIn, on X, on Facebook, on multiple social media, and you realize that your ability to navigate through others' job boards and all this job application process really would stand you out as you transition. So it's very important that we remind ourselves of that. Now, when we talk about recruitment, we've heard employability skills, we've heard present your CV in the right format, we've heard have the right keywords in your CV, we've heard all of those. But it's really important for us to know that recruitment is a process. It's an end-to-end process. Recruitment starts from the recruitment plan. The organization identifying the need for a skill, the need for a talent, identifying there's a gap, and there's a competence gap, they need to buy talents. So some organizations would say, rather than buy, we are building talent, or some will say we are borrowing. But when there's a need for an external advert that is being placed, that means that company is buying that talent over into their organization. So recruitment starts from the planning phase. Then the next phase is the search, where companies put out the adverts for applicants to apply. Applicants who demonstrate the right competences or demonstrate the right fit for the role. Once you apply, so ATS is an application system. Then the next stage is the screening and shortlisting, which ATS also does. So the screening and the shortlisting phase is where you look at what information you have provided. Does it mirror the requirement for the role that is being advertised? Once you get through that shortlisting stage, then interview stage is where they get to meet you, ask you questions, assess your attributes, your skills, your behavior, your culture fit, your experience, your knowledge of the role, blah, blah, blah. And then proceed to the evaluation and employment offer stage. So it's really very important for us to understand the multiple phases of recruitment process, because when you do, it also helps you to navigate through. So for instance, if the job description is not clear, then it might affect a bit of the recruitment process, because that means applicants will just be shooting blindly. That's why a lot of times I struggle with walk-in interviews. Walk into what? Walk in to do what? What skill? What's the need that you require. Having said that, there are different ways of interviewing. So it's important that we are aware of this. So, but I'd like to ask the audience a question very quickly. What's been your most frustrating recruitment experience so far? Anyone, to make the session very interactive, short, precise, straight to the point. Let's keep the energy up. We've been on this session the last 2-3 hours plus. So let's just quickly ensure that we finish strong. So anyone wants to share what's been the most frustrating recruitment experience you've had? Because we are talking about recruitment in Nigeria and how do you navigate through? The honest truth is, yes, there are challenges that applicants face. Okay, I've never been selected for interview. Thank you so much. That's I think that's a very germane frustration. Where you apply for a role, you see, you find a role and you find it very interesting, and then you're excited and you see that you have the attributes or the skills that is being asked for the role, and then you apply, and then nothing happens. Okay, I remember there was a mentee of mine about 2 years ago who was looking for a job, and I realized when I sent him job application, he would apply with so much anxiety, with so much expectation. They would invite him for the first interview, but then he never got called back again. So there was a time I now asked for his CV because I wanted to submit his CV personally. And when I saw the CV, gosh, I had to call him to say, please go and rework your CV. It doesn't reflect the true picture of your skills and capability. Because in his CV with 1 year's experience, he kept writing strategic thought leader. I think how can you be a thought leader and a strategic thinker with 1 year work experience? So based on that, companies would invite him with so much expectation, but after first interview, they never invited him again. So one of the reasons why we have this session today, put together by Coach Abike and the team, is so that going forward, now when you apply with a lot of intentionality, with all the learnings you've heard here, it will increase your chance of selection. Like Vivian mentioned earlier at her session, when you have the right keywords, when your CV is in the proper format. So perhaps it's a wake-up call for you to go and relook your CV in line with what you have learned today, so that going forward, you can be selected for interviews. All right. Thank you so much, Olayinkali, for that. This is Olayinkali that is putting a response. Very quickly, what's been your most frustrating recruitment experience? Anyone else? Let's just talk about it very quickly. I think another one that most of my mentees usually come back to say as part of the frustration is you go for an interview and then you never hear back. If you've done well, if you haven't done well, no response. No one acknowledges. No one gives any feedback. You don't even know what to improve on. So that can be very frustrating, and I get it. I used to tell my story in 2019. I'd gone for an interview at an organization in Abuja. They sent me business class tickets. I was going for interviews, got really excited. The recruiter called me one day and said, "Madam, congratulations. The chairman likes you. The last interview you had with them went well. Please expect an offer letter from them. They will be making you an offer." That was the feedback I got from the recruitment company then, who was headhunting me for the role in Abuja. Guys, since 2019, we're in 2025. That offer letter to date have not come. No word, nothing. So yes, there can really be some frustration that people experience, especially in the Nigeria landscape. I think another frustration that a lot of young people experience during recruitment is even the not getting, apart from not getting feedback or responses, even to interviews and the like, sometimes the limitations on the CV. So they ask for certain age and they ask for certain experience. And you're wondering, with this age that is being asked and the experience, where does that leave those of us that are entry level? Everybody wants an experienced hire. But so, and for you, who, you're still young, just starting your career, you feel left out. So that's another frustration. Thank you so much, Lux. I went through the series of interviews for a particular job. The remarks were great. My medical results spoiled it all. I was pregnant at that time, so it affected my ESR. Wow. So sorry about that. I mean, sometimes the medical aspects could also be a barrier to getting talents. And I think for me, it also speaks to the organization. For some organization, they don't discriminate against pregnancy, but some, based on their policy or whatever it is, or based on the nature of the job. I mean, in my organization, we've hired, there was even the most recent one, we hired a lady who resumed, 2 weeks went for mat leave, and we were okay with that. It was fine. So for some companies, it might be a barrier. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who had shared their experience. But having said that, how can we navigate intentionally going forward? Stringing everything together, like I had mentioned earlier. Okay. So first, it starts with self-awareness. Coach Abike spoke extensively about this, and I think Mary's equally mentioned it. So we've heard everything. Like I mentioned, my role is to string everything together through the recruitment process so that way you can stand out. Your knowledge of yourself is very important. Understanding who you are and understanding your why. A young lady came to me about 5 years ago. She told me she was getting frustrated, getting into depression just because she's been looking for a job for 2 years and hadn't gotten a job. So I asked her, what do you want to do? She said, oh, I want to do HR. And I asked her, why HR? Her response was, she loves recruitment. And I said, okay, why do you love recruitment? I mean, I kept asking her, why? And at some point, she couldn't even answer. I said, ma, I don't even know. So I said to her, go back and search, understand who you are. What are your strengths? What are you really good at? What comes naturally to you? I took her through my coaching session for a couple of weeks. And then one fateful afternoon, she called me with so much excitement, screaming on the phone. And I said, Coach Lara, I found it. I was like, okay, so tell me, what is it? I want to be a VA, a virtual assistant. Guys, between you and I, the world of VA then hadn't been as prominent as it is. So I didn't even know what it was actually. So I said, hey, really, tell me more about this VA. What's it about and why? She said, ma, I realized that I love to organize things for people. That's what I do naturally. And when I'm organizing things for you, I don't want to be in your face. I just want to be at the back end helping you achieve your result, helping you with your productivity. I enjoy that. She said, okay, fine. So I was her first VA client. And then she helped me there with my social media calendar, my social media posts and the likes. And today she's been doing that VA work for over 5 years. And she's found so much fulfillment in it. Self-awareness, knowing what she likes, and then knowing her why. And today, today she's doing her work meaningfully because it's from a place of helping people achieve results with her skill and strength in organization. So what do you love to do? I won't overemphasize this because previous speakers have spoken a lot about that, which I think the next thing now is, how do you now represent this on your CV? How do you showcase your strengths on your CV? With Vivian's session, I believe that has addressed that. Coach Abike equally spoke about growth mindset. And I say to people, you cannot excel or you cannot succeed without first winning the battle internally. Because guys, the battle we all fight the most is the battle in between our ears, in our mind, in our brain. We think, I have a third class, I cannot get a good job. Oh, I have a 2-2, I am not good at this. Oh, I read mathematics, there isn't a lot of job opportunity for me. Oh, I read sociology. Oh, I read fishery. And then we limit ourselves. We limit ourselves with our thinking, with what the environment is tossing at us. But guys, like Coach Abike already mentioned, the battle must start from your mindset, a growth mindset, a mindset that understands that you have to win, even though you don't have a job now. Who says you cannot create your own job? And we are in an era where there's just so much opportunity. Now we have people who have designed career paths for themselves. I look at Tunde on LinkedIn, who is doing so much, who is doing phenomenal with slum children in slum, and helping children to find meaning in life. That's a career path for him. His career path isn't the CEO or whatever, but he's finding fulfillment, solving that problem. And that's a career path. We're in a world where there's just so much you can do as long as you understand what the needs are and you're able to apply your skill to solve problems, and you can find fulfillment in it. We're in a world with gig economy now, where the job you have to do doesn't have to be a physical 9-to-5. You can work remotely. The world is borderless. The opportunity is borderless. So the winning has to start from our mind. I hope you are getting something very quickly. Let's put in the chat box. I hope you're getting something. If you're getting anything, put in the chat box. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep the energy high. I'm very mindful that it's late in the evening. And then, of course, planning and goal setting. I can't overemphasize that. We've spoken about that earlier. Action and activities. Coach Abike spoke about the attributes that we must have, right? And for us to have those attributes, we have to be intentional with the right habits, the roadmap we must also create. I recall Vivian equally mentioned that her mentor once spoke to her many years ago, that if you're looking for a job, then you will have to make looking for a job in itself, where you wake up early in the morning, you have your plans. How many job applications are you going to apply on a daily basis? What companies are you reaching out to on LinkedIn and the like? So it's very important that you're very intentional with your action planning as you apply for jobs. Then positioning, kind of besides that, positioning not just only with your CV, but even on your social media platforms. Position. A lot of young people are on WhatsApp groups, just quiet, doing nothing. I remember about 2 years ago, there was a lady who reached out to me from WhatsApp group and said she wanted to volunteer, she wanted to support, she would call, she would check in. And guys, when there was a job vacancy, she was top of mind already because she had helped me to do a couple of things outside of work, had experienced her. She had positioned herself. And when there was an opening, she was the first person that came to my mind. We employed her just by positioning herself. Having said that, the ability for all of us to what we have learned today intentionally into a roadmap, curate it with clear action plan, set goals, and of course have the right mindset is very, very important. And finally, this is my last slide. We all want to stand out, and the God factor is critical. The God factor is very, very important. Yes, we might be at a point where we are seeking for another level. It starts with first winning internally and then trusting your God factor, your anchor for leading, for direction. Very, very important. I remember the story of a lady who had her friend had an interview. So she wanted to escort the friend to, maybe because she was home doing nothing. She escorted her friend to the organization just for just to sit with her at the reception, wait for the friend to go in for the interview, then she will come back, meet her at the reception, and they'll go home together. She wasn't invited. She said, rather than just sit at home doing nothing, let me follow you now. She needs to sit at the reception. They won't chase me. She followed this lady to the reception. Someone came out, saw her, and said, okay, are you here for the interview? She said, no, I accompanied my friend. She's already gone in for the interview. And they said, really, you accompany your friend? Okay, but are you interested? Can we have a chat with you as well? So yes, okay, do you have your CV? I'm sorry, I don't have my CV, but I can quickly forward my CV to you via my phone. She forwarded her CV. She got invited for this interview. Guys, she got the job. The friend that was even invited did not get that job. The God factor. God ordered her footstep that day. She could have decided to be home doing nothing. So God factor, we cannot overemphasize that. Your personal branding, like Vivian already told us, your CV is your first point of contact, ensuring that your CV is well put together. That's really what projects who you are. Then all your social media platform now, very important. The pictures that you put in, the comments, the way you present yourself on social media, on digital platforms, very important. I remember, and let me quickly share this story. So I forwarded a job into my WhatsApp vacancy group, and then a guy reached out, sent a DM with his CV, interested in the job. When I got the DM on my phone, he had this, the scary looking DP on his WhatsApp as his WhatsApp DP, some bloody looking. And immediately I saw it, my heart skipped. I said, God, this is a scammer. This is a scammer. But I realized that he replied from my WhatsApp group. There's a way you want to reply from a group. You can trace the source from where that conversation started from. And then I sent him a chat. I said, guy, if you're looking for a job and you have this scary looking DP, I'm sorry, nobody will listen to you. Because even me, when you chatted me, I got scared. Your DP was very scary. He said, Ma, I'm so sorry. No wonder when I send CVs to people, they never even acknowledge. Then he went and changed his DP. So you can imagine having just one DP that is very scary. How that can be a put off for on your application. Okay, communication. Coach Abike spoke about that. Connection is very important. When you're applying for jobs, your ability to connect emotionally really, really is very important. Your likability, because that's why you go for interviews and they say, oh, this is a culture fit. This person can fit into our organization. This person cannot. So be mindful of the energy you exude and then a connection that you make during recruitment process. That would really help you navigate through. Networking, I kind of emphasize that. Self-development, that's what we've been doing all day today since we started this program, getting the right tips, the right insight to develop ourselves, and of course, volunteering. When you have any opportunity to be a part of a group, to support, to showcase your skills, to showcase what you do, showcase your ability, please always take that opportunity on. Volunteering is another way that you can build skills, especially transferable skills. Then building irrelevant skills. Vivian spoke extensively on that. I would encourage everyone to go do a skills audit. Please go do a skills audit. We're in a skill economy now. Like Vivian mentioned, companies are looking more out for skills, not just for roles. So do a skills audit, know the skills you're really good at, and that would really help you. For instance, I realized that in my organization, I was being involved in a lot of business transformation initiative, and that led me to build two critical skills. One, business analysis skills, because I know that if my business is going through transition, the ability to understand the transition and support the business is very important. And that also led me to take the change management certification as well, because I'm driving change at organizational level. I need to have the right competence for that. So skill development, please do not underestimate it. And then finally for me is always put your best foot forward. Yes, always put your best foot forward. That's one of the things that would help you. When you're sending that application, please don't just forward the CV with a blank email. That's not your best foot. Don't just forward your CV, even via WhatsApp, without salutation. This is my CV for the role, without even saying, hello, good afternoon. I found this application somewhere, blah, 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 blah. That's putting your best foot forward. The right communication, positioning yourself with the right form of connection would help you. So thank you so much. It's always very, very important that as we navigate through with all the learnings that we've been having from the last 3 hours, please let's go do the work. Action, action, action. It is your action that changes your result. So it's not just about learning all that you've learned, but what are the actions that you're going to take going forward? And if you need any further support, any clarity, reach out to Coach Abike. She's your go-to person for anything career. Please, she's your go-to. Reach out to her for any clarification. Thank you so much. I have a question on a chat room, and I'll take it very quickly. I know my time is fast spent. From Lux. What do you advise someone who over the years has been working for a particular job description, maybe due to what was available at that time, and has other professional skills and decided to practice the other skills now, but don't have any experience yet on the skills? What do you advise, please? Lux, that's a great question. What you have just listed here is transferable skills. So I know a lady who had spent most of her career in procurement, and then she wanted to transition to HR. Yes, she's done procurement all her life I think about 15 years. Even though she became very interested in HR, what did she do? She started understanding her transferable skills. What are the skills that she has in procurement that she can transition to the next role? For instance, negotiation skills, communication skills. So identify your transferable skills and then know those skills that you can use to transition to the next job that you want, even though you don't have the experience, but there are certain skills that cuts across those. So like I mentioned, procurement to HR, or someone who was in marketing and then wants to transition to maybe business development or legal. Know the skills that is required in the roles you want to transition to. Identify your transferable skills and see how you can apply those skills in that role, and then start from there. Volunteer. I started my career from admin. I wanted HR. I would do my admin job well, then go to HR, learn HR. I realized that I had strong organizational skills, which was also relevant for HR, right? I had strong analytical skills, which was relevant for HR. I had strong negotiation skills, which was relevant for HR. So identify those transferable skills and then volunteer, project yourself, apply, and then someone might just give you a chance. Thank you so much, Lux. I hope I answered that. Thank you. On that note, because of our time, I'll hand over to our DRS moderator. Thank you so much once again for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Lara. That was very succinct and expertly handled. Thank you. Wow, we're far gone for time. So what we're going to do now is some housekeeping, and then we'll close out for the day. I want to appreciate all our participants for your perseverance. I want to also, and your doggedness. I mean, I know how many we were.
Your network.
Let's see. On to the next one. I hope it's better now. I just changed my network.
It is.
Okay. Thank you. So just a quick rundown on what to expect next week. All right. Next week, I'd like you to come prepared, and hopefully we're going to have a small chat with our facilitators ahead of time so that we can be able to finish this in good time. We'll be looking at entrepreneurial and entrepreneurial skills from the very revered Yemi Faseun. We'll have digital skills and all that it entails by Abiodun Ibitayo. We're going to have interview techniques and tips. I mean, we went through the stages of recruitment with Coach Lara. Okay, so how to ace your interviews once you've gone through Maris's part and Vivian's part of getting through the guard dogs, and then you finally get a shot at an interview. How to make sure that you are the candidate that we remember. Your networking and personal branding, that will be handled by Rotimi, and of course, we will round off with Dr. Ona, who will be taking us through leveraging LinkedIn to create that kind of social media presence that gets attention. All right. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we leave, I'd like you all to turn on your cameras at this point. Oh, yes, it was really time well spent, Lola. Thank you. Turn on your cameras at this point. It's that part where we say cheese. Okay, so I'm looking a bit frazzled, but I think we'll still be able to get a good shot. Okay, so there are about 25 of us on this call. Would also like oh yes, Lara, I see you. Vivian, I see you. Maris is here, but his camera isn't on yet. Would like our esteemed speakers who have spoken today to also turn on their cameras. Bolanle, please adjust. We don't want to take a picture of your window. We want to see your face. Yes. Okay, Olainka, we're waiting. Roslyn, Rotimi, yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you. Oh, it's so great to see the faces on this call. You all are looking very dapper. Oh, wow.
Victoria.
Looking very dapper.
Victoria from US. Good to see you.
All the way. Wow. Maybe
yes,
next week we're going to do a small
from UK.
Try to find out where you're joining us from. Oh, great. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Coach Abike.
All right.
Nice being on the call.
Thank you.
You are doing very well.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Viv, have we been able to get a good shot? We have. I'm taking the thumbs up to mean that we have. She's muted. Okay, great. All right. Thank you also very much. Thank you, Coach Wesley. It's not easy what you do, but somehow you always obey that call, that inner call, that inner thing that says you will not rest until this is accomplished. And you've been blessing so many lives. And well, I am an evidence of a life that has been blessed. Thank you so much, Maris. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you to everybody who participated, asked questions, and who referred someone or referred this link to others. I appreciate you all. Your WhatsApp DPs have been showing this program. Even on LinkedIn, you've been posting. Thank you so very much. We'll be rounding off next week. I've already given you a brief rundown of what to expect next week. So I'd like you all to also share this with others so that we can have a bigger house and a bigger forum. By next week, which is going to be the grand finale, I see us going past the 100 mark and entering into that YouTube space. Thank you all so very much. Without making too much of your, taking too much of your time, I'd like to wish you all a very pleasant evening and see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Abike.